whatever reason, there's a huge delay before the button disappeared for me to reconnect the stream. So hopefully this means I just clicked it. The thing is green again. Okay, yeah. So now my live stream is open on YouTube as well. There it is. Christ. Okay, anyways, thank you guys for being patient. Let me just catch up then real quick. Yeah, I used Atom a while ago for streaming to Instagram at the time, but they're a private company, so making money is in their interest. Oh, interesting. So, like, okay. You'd want to look at the A10 Mini Pro ISO. Okay. Well, hopefully you guys can see and hear me, no issues. I believe my YouTube stream is just kicked back up. And Twitch, I hope you guys didn't get disconnected. I'm hoping that 90-second buffer thing that they have built in, hopefully it worked. What was I gonna look up? A10 Mini Pro ISO. We hear you? Haha, perfect. Thank you, thank you. Maple said you would do the camera switching on the device into a single HDMI that goes into your PC into one capture card, or you can use the USB output. Yeah, I was thinking, I was doing some research for like potential future projects where I think I would need an A10 Mini Extreme ISO. Obviously very pricey, but I figured this could be useful for like a future project. Hopefully if I don't have to pay for it, but... And then the one that could work for myself, you're saying, is the A10 Mini Pro ISO, which is much cheaper. Interesting. 550 bucks. King says, welcome back. Thank you very much. Jesus, man, I hate my life. I don't know why I cause myself issues like this, but this time I do believe this was not an ATEM issue. It was my internet itself. Like my whole internet just cut out for a second. So we're back. We're trying our best. You can also look at a decimator design if you ever start touching SDI connectors. I was looking into these like SDI, so it sounds like SDI is the proper cables, right? Nico says hello. Well, thank you very much, guys. Appreciate the refollow on my YouTube side, because I think it basically the stream ended and I had to restart it, so thank you guys. This SDI, is it a cable or is it a connecting thing, right? Or I don't know how best to understand this. But my understanding was like this SDI is supposed to be much more powerful, more like it's like the more professional. Oh man, it's all Condor Blue. This is the brand that BD mentioned was Spawn of the Devil, right? Fed says back. Yes, awesome. Thank you guys. Thanks for being here. Let's just double check if everything is working. Okay, I think everything's fine. We back. Yo, what's up, Photo Elite? Photo says, Maple, the Rodecaster video is actually cheaper and more powerful. Rodecaster video. Rodecaster video is an all-in-one production console. Okay, so which one's better? Rodecaster video versus ATEM Mini. I'll just say ATEM because I don't know which brand or product. The 7 best video switchers for live streaming. Let's see what AI says here first. Rodecaster video is best for creators prioritizing audio and all-in-one control, while the ATEM Mini is better for video-centric production environments that may use separate audio solutions. Okay. So that, okay, if we take what AI is saying here for granted, or if it's generally true, I would say for my current needs, the ATEM Mini would be more in line, because I'm trying to do more like video, a bunch of video, you know, switching between a bunch of video sources. And then for audio would just be like having a wireless mic, probably. Rodecaster is designed for podcasters and content creators, offering superior built-in audio features like better ISO recording and wireless audio. The ATEM, by contrast, is a dedicated video switcher, but some users find its audio capabilities lacking. Actually, that's something BD had mentioned as well. BD mentioned that ATEM isn't good for audio capture, so it seems like it's in line. What's up, Photo? Long time no see. Photo says the Rodecaster Video S that... Oh, okay, I thought it was a typo. Rodecaster Video S. That dropped just a few days ago is cheaper and has XLR with the AFX processor. It's about 500 bucks. Dator says, welcome back. Thank you. Oh, man, I hate my life sometimes, you know? Photo Elites, since you've been away, I've updated everything. So one, I am now filming with the Nikon ZR here. Now it's not shooting at the best, whatever you call it. Also, I need to... Right now I'm using the ZR, but I'm shooting at H.265 with an Elgato cam link. One of the things I want to figure out, whether it's on stream or off stream, is I want to see if I can shoot for streaming in R3D codec. And then can I generate some LUTs in Rec 709 and put that as filters into OBS? Because when I was testing yesterday, I think, in R3D codec, even with my view assist, where I would have like the Rec 709 LUTs as the view assist, whatever's coming through the cam link would end up making the shot look very flat. So it looks like that view assist didn't actually translate into the whatever gets shown here. So my alternative I was thinking is that either I need to, I think the view assist might not translate over for streaming through the cam link. So instead, if I create a filter within OBS that mimics one of my LUTs and then just have a flat R3D codec coming through, so it'll look flat, apply the full filter in OBS after. That's my thoughts. So we have that one. Then look, we got Nala here. Chilling. Oh, she looks cute. Adorable. And then right now she's kind of on the wrong seat, but we all just chilling here. Okay. SDI is the standard because they lock and can send signal longer than HDMI. Gotcha. Video S, the S is important. It depends on your existing gear and workflow. Okay, let's look at this. Rodecaster Video S. Maybe we should watch a video on this. Whoops. Rodecaster Video S.
Rode recently announced the Rodecaster Video S, which not this one, this is the regular Rodecaster Video, but I'm a visual person, I like to show things. The Rodecaster Video S is a smaller, the S could potentially stand for smaller, version of this. Rode did offer to send one to review, which was very nice, but I've just been really busy and the number of review units available was a bit limited, so I kind of just didn't want to take one if I wasn't going to really dive into it, because as cool and fully featured and amazing as the Rodecaster Video is, there's simultaneously not a lot to talk about with the Rodecaster Video S, but also a lot to talk about not just for it, but kind of how it reframes things. So right off the bat, if you are wondering what the heck it even is, what the S am I talking about? It's not too dissimilar from a couple of years ago when Rode released the Rodecaster Duo, which has since become one of my favorite devices that they've ever released. So the Rodecaster Duo is basically just a smaller version of the Rodecaster Pro.
So I need something I can travel with.
Same internals. The only difference is you get fewer connections and fewer physical faders.
So I need a smaller device, let's say. So this thing seems right up my alley just because of how compact it is. But this is also me speaking as someone who has no freaking idea. I'm just dabbling in trying to understand all of these different tech requirements if you want to be able to do some proper broadcasting or whatever. Let's see. Let's keep watching.
And fewer smart pad buttons. So fewer physical things and connections. Internally, these are identical, which is what makes the Rodecaster Duo such an awesome value, is you get everything from the big one Most people, especially home creators, don't necessarily need the 4 inputs and all this stuff. So this is like kind of the most practical option. It's really my #1 recommended interface mixer. I love the Duo. It's the one that lives on, what was that sound? The Rodecaster Video and the Rodecaster Video S share a very similar relationship, but not entirely. So the Rodecaster Duo is $499 and the Rodecaster Pro 2 is $699. So a bit more expensive. The Rodecaster Video, the full-size one, is $1,199, so $1,200, and the Rodecaster Video S is $499. It's the same price as the Rodecaster Duo, which is phenomenal. So if you want to know my overall thoughts about the Rodecaster Video S, the S could stand for super value because $499 for a multi-input switcher with the audio capabilities.
I gotta turn on my hard drive here.
Video and now the Video S, their audio capabilities absolutely blow away every other video switcher. It's not even close because what you have inside is essentially a Rodecaster Duo. In this, you have this functionality and this processing and the 2 XLR inputs just built into here. Form factor is different, of course, but the capabilities are all in here. The same thing is true for the Rodecaster Video S. So again, form factor being different, but price point, you're paying the same price for the Rodecaster.
Like, how big of a difference are we talking about with audio? That's, I guess, I'm curious. So are they saying like with an ATEM? So if I had something like an ATEM Mini Extreme, whatever it's called, Extreme ISO. So it's like, hey, this one is superior when it comes to broadcasting your videos and switching between them or whatever. However, on audio side, it doesn't seem to have as good of a quality. Is it a quality issue or is it like a stability issue, or like a connection issue? Does that even make sense? Photo says, but for streaming, for his local camera setup, the Rodecaster is better because he can sell his various cam links and the Scarlett Solo to make up for the cost of the Rodecaster S. Yeah, okay, so for instance, I have 3 cam links. You're saying I could technically sell all of my Elgato cam links, and then I can hook up my cameras via the Rodecaster, like the HDMI. Hold on, I wasn't looking.
Your Duo, but you're getting also a video switcher. That is pretty amazing. So 0 complaints there. Where it does get a little bit different between the Rodecaster Video S and the full-size Rodecaster Video compared to the Duo and the 2. God, there's so many product names. These, like I said, you have fewer connections, fewer inputs on the Rodecaster Duo, but otherwise they're exactly the same. And even your I/O on the back, minus like the extra connections,
1, 2, 3,
are exactly the same. That is not the case with the Rodecaster Video S, especially if you look at the I/O on the back. So the S in this case could stand for stripped down because it is a little more stripped down than the full-size version. It's not exactly just a smaller version. The things that you lose, that I understand you lose at least, you don't get monitor outputs. So this has 1/4-inch monitor outputs. You don't have those. You don't have a micro SD card port, which even though I do have a micro SD card in here, I don't really think that's a huge deal. I've always used an attached SSD because that just, especially for video related things, just kind of makes more sense. So I don't think that's too big of a deal to get rid of. And obviously you are losing, the biggest thing is one of the HDMI inputs. You have 3 on the Rodecaster Video S versus 4 here. You're losing one of the HDMI outputs. You're basically losing the EF and 5/6 buttons here. So these are kind of cut out and everything's condensed. You're losing 5/6 instead of 6/7, I guess. So that means in the full-size Rodecaster Video, you can save 7 scenes. And in the Rodecaster Video S, you can save 5 scenes. So
Elle says, oh no, a Scarlett?
You also
Oh, I completely disregarded that part. Hold on. Because Photos said, for streaming, for his local... Okay, so the Rodecaster... You're saying I can sell my Scarlett? So you're saying, because it has an XLR, I should be able to plug in my RE20... Okay, so I can plug in my RE20 directly into this Rodecaster. And then I can plug in, let's say, up to 3 cameras. So right now, technically, I do have 3 cameras. So let's say let's see, I got camera 1, camera 2, and camera 3. I can plug all 3 of those via their HDMI. And then I can sell, to your point, the cam links. I can sell my Scarlett Focusrite. Um, yo, Honyasu! What's up, Honyasu? Hello, hello. Thank you, Honyasu, for the epic raid. I appreciate it very much. And Honyasu, shout out to you. I feel like you're consistently always raiding me, and I do appreciate it because it's hard for me to return the favor. It seems like it's always you're streaming before I am. But I'm acknowledging you. I appreciate it very much. Thank you. Right now we're doing a bit of a probably a boring stream because I'm just researching different technologies right now. So while I was planning to, you know, I was planning to edit some of these footages or at least export them and review them. Right now I'm very fascinated by potential things that I should be shopping for. So all in the name of being a better live streamer, better capabilities for like broadcasting and stuff. So but thank you very much. Thank you, Honyasu. Yo, what's up, Swiss? Swiss Army is here saying hello, camera nerds. Oh, actually, Swiss, maybe you won't find this boring then. Basically, we were starting the stream talking about different tech that I should be incorporating, and I mentioned how I purchased my third with that limited bank account of yours. Yeah, and it's only getting limited-er, okay? I ended up purchasing my third Elgato Camlink 4K. This is even after the whole extensive conversations we had the other day about how I should get the Magewell, yada yada. And the problem I ran into is, one, the Magewell was like 3 times the price, and 2, it wasn't going to deliver for the next like week and a half or so, whereas the Elgato Camlink literally arrived the next day. So I was like, okay, I can't beat that. But now we were talking. So I think I don't know if Maple's still here, but Maple had mentioned I should look at getting. Oh, and then Elthing had also mentioned I should get something called a PCIe card. But unfortunately, not unfortunately, what am I talking about? I'm using the better of the two. I'm using a Mac. Okay, so apparently this doesn't work on Mac. So then we were trying to figure out what are the solutions, and then the A10 Mini came up, and this is obviously something I'd been looking into personally as well for potential projects. And Photo Elite, shout out to Photo, had now mentioned there's this new product called the Rodecaster Video S, which is still under pre-order. And so now I'm just trying to contemplate, like, could I use this in my home setup right now, technically? So if I were to sell, go with what works, bro. There is nothing perfect in this world. Yeah. Maybe like a deck link card. What is a deck link card? I almost don't want to even Google this because I hate words that don't roll off the tongue very nicely, like rural. Deck link card. Yeah, that's a triple annoying sequence of words. Deck link card. Ugh. It's from Black Magic. Okay. And briefly, it seemed like what Photo had sent across is that the Rodecaster is better for audio, whereas the ATEM might be better for video. So now I need to understand, what does that actually mean? When someone says it's better for, yeah. Black Magic designs the deck link. Honyasu says, no worries, I like rating people that I know. Well, I appreciate that very much. Yo, Honyasu, if I'm not mistaken, did you say you live in Indonesia? Or I forget. Are you a Indonesian streaming in Japan, or you're Japanese streaming in Indonesia, or something like that? Either way, I do want to start traveling back to Asia soon. So maybe there's a world where if I visit your country, we can catch up in person. Rode is audio-focused company. That much I understand, but I don't know when they say it's better. Like, I just want to make sure, as long as the connection is stable. So obviously I don't want like a video broadcast to be stuttering or looking glitchy, and I wouldn't want my audio to be, stuttering either. I just want, as long as it's smooth on both. I don't actually care about either of them having like a technically speaking higher quality if you look at the numbers. If it's all just going to be downscaled to like a 1080, stream. But then also, I'm curious if one of these things could actually save me money in my home studio setup. So, Decklink, world's highest performance capture cards for Mac, Windows, and Linux. How does this connect to a Mac OS? Or like a Mac? Yeah, now I'm confused. No other capture and playback cards are supported by more software applications for Mac. Get drivers that work. Oh, do you need one of these kind of big power or like tower systems though? So I don't. My assumption is maybe this doesn't work if I have something like a Mac Studio. Do I need to get one of those actual legit Mac towers? Man, so much technology here. You can in a Mac Pro. Yeah, so maybe that's the limitation. I don't have I need a Mac Pro. Okay, so that's where we're thinking, if I understand this technology, and I'm assuming the ATEM is the same. So let's say if I have an ATEM. Okay, so with the ATEM, I technically get 4 inputs. This is for $500 versus the Rodecaster is pre-order for how much? Let's assume it's around the same price. So what are the key differences here? Because this guy gives me... Honyasa says I live in Indonesia. 100% Indonesian. Nice, nice. Gotcha, gotcha. Yeah, I do want to do a trip to Indonesia. I want to do the orangutans at some point. For the ATEM, look at the audio input ability. How do I see that? Oh, but then, oh yeah, the other point that Photo Elite was mentioning is that technically, if I get the Rodecaster, I can also get rid of my Scarlett Focusrite. So technically, I could sell my Scarlett Focusrite, and I can sell at least 2 of my Elgato cam links. Maybe I'd hold on to one just in case. And for those things, I could technically, you know, pay for my, let's say, getting one of these Rodecasters. And then that way, this thing would work for both, you know, attaching all 3 of my cameras. Plus, I could use the XLR input. Whereas with the Blackmagic, the ATEM, it looks like I would need my Scarlett still. Oh, unless I get the ATEM Mini Extreme, which is like $2,000. But then this one has the XLR. Oh my god, there's so much to learn here. I do feel... I'm excited because I am slowly learning. Not at the pace that normally people probably do learn these things, but it's slowly being digested. I think the lowest version... Oh, Hunyasa said you can say decklink, like duckling. Duckling. Even that word I hate. I'm a hater of the K sound and the R sounds. I think the lowest version has only 1 audio input. The next up version has dual audio inputs. Yeah, when I'm looking at this guy, this ATEM Mini, the ATEM Mini Pro, it doesn't have any, it's just got like the 2, is like the normal headphone jacks or whatever, mic jacks. L says there's also a thing called external PCIe that runs off USB. Okay. Oh my god, so many things. Random Resolve question. Have you been able to use Resolve to make proxies of the R3D NE footage yet? I'm testing for Uganda proxy process. Have you been able to use Resolve to make proxies? Sorry, I'm not following. Hold on, let me go to my footage. To make proxies of the R3D NE footage. I don't think I'm following what you're saying here. So you're saying... Oh, I see, see. Okay, so basically we were talking like, okay, let's say here I've got my R3D footage under the proxy handling, you're saying? Or if I say use optimized media and I say prefer proxies or whatever, because I think I turn off a bunch of these things. Let me just see. So then it's not the cache, right? So I'm assuming this is when you just right click or you say render, generate optimized media. Sorry, I'm kind of like fumbling around because I haven't actually tried this. But is that the same thing what you're saying is like when you do the whole generate optimized media? Is there another option for that? Yeah, I'm assuming that's what you mean. Because you're saying it wasn't recognizing. I got into Resolve, signed into cloud. I have a bin set up for my... Oh, yeah, and that's the other thing. I don't have a cloud account, so I've never actually played around with that. Orangutan is on the Kalimantan Island, though. I live in Jawa Island. I don't think we can meet. I don't know how far away it is. Well, listen, if I do a trip to Indonesia, my hope would be that I don't do a quick trip. So the goal would be like I spend a decent amount of time, explore as much as possible, maybe go to Malaysia as well. That would be my hope. And if I grab the actual R3D file, it doesn't let me import into that bin. But if I just grab everything, it just grabs the MP4s and produces proxies from that. Oh, wait, did you answer your own question, Swiss? Because I don't think I did anything to help you there. Maybe Resolve hasn't fixed that process yet. But so I get the challenge. Basically, you're saying like, hey, you're filming in R3D. You want to be able to send this up into the cloud or just quickly be able to send these proxy files to your editor who lives in, let's say, the US. But I don't know much about the DaVinci Resolve cloud accounts. But I'm assuming within the cloud account, you could just have the same project timeline. And then if you load in your files, someone else can see those files there as well. But they'd just be working off of like a cache, like a proxy version, I guess. Or how would that work? They see your project timeline, but then they also need to download all of the files onto their PC or whatever, and then they can work off of it. But the version that they're downloading is the proxy smaller file. And so they work with proxy files on their PC, but then on the same cloud connected project timeline. Is that how it works? I've never worked with... I'm right now I'm in the middle of trying to figure out how I can get an editor on board. So all of this is new to me. L, you said, keep in mind if you get the Rodecaster S, if one thing breaks, everything breaks, instead of just replacing the sound card. Oh, man. I mean, it's a good point. It's a good point. You would hope that these things don't break down that easily, though, right? Swiss, you said, no, I wanted to be able to upload raw media. Okay, so raw media to the cloud or proxy from the real file. So I guess you'll be stuck with getting proxies of proxy files. It is what it is. As in, like, right now, I think what you said is you can only send the proxy of your MP4s, but not of the R3D. You tested this process with Starlink last night. It was incredibly fast. Ooh, that's promising. That's promising. Okay. But am I understanding this correctly? Like, because again, thank you guys. Thank you, everyone. But it sounds like I actually should consider getting one of these, either the Rodecaster or the ATEM. It sounds like the Rodecaster or the ATEM are the best options for me. The Decklink sounds like it only if I had like a Mac Pro, whereas like with my Mac Studio, it's just like a fixed. There's no like, you can't like build on top of this Mac Studio. So unless you can somehow hook up through like a USB or I don't know, some USB-C, it doesn't seem like that's possible. So while I can't use this Decklink, between the Rodecaster and the ATEM Mini, one of these could be a good solution for my home studio. And this is another, let me talk to ChatGPT at the same time to keep her included, you know? But then, let's see. Swiss, you said, I tested this. Oh, yeah. 10 minutes of content, 6K, 60, and 10 minutes, 4K NRAW. Sent up the proxies up to the editor in a few minutes. Damn. So you had 10 minutes of 6K, 60 frames. So 20 minutes total. Wow. Are you in Uganda already, Swiss? I forget what I thought you, for some reason I thought you said it was like 17th or 18th. Are you in Uganda already? And which day is the gorilla scheduled for? Man, I'm so excited for you. Make sure, hopefully, oh, I forgot to tell you this, but you have to make sure to get like the leg gaiters, yeah, like the proper clothing and stuff. But sometimes gloves are useful. Honyasa says, well, if you go to Indonesia and you are on immigration office of Surabaya, we can meet though, especially on weekdays. Oh, are you part of the immigration office? Yo, can you help me with like my visa situation getting into Indonesia then? I'm assuming with my US passport, generally speaking, you don't have problems most places. But you can go to my school and talk to kids there. Oh, nice. You know, I'll do that if your school will pay for my trip to to Indonesia. King says, Joe Bell, you're teaching me all about streaming. Look, I'm learning. Who would have thought? I'm just grateful you guys are here watching me Google search a bunch of things. Who would have thought that would be entertaining, right? Swiss, you said, nah, still in New York. I leave on the 19th. The trek starts on the 25th. Gotcha. Okay. Oh, I'm going to Nigeria soon. There's like some Nikon event, so they asked if I can do a presentation or like something for like the ZR. I think it's launching in Nigeria perhaps soon or something. So yeah, that'll be fun. It always feels nice when people ask if I can be a part of some event like this. So Photo, you said, I got some help from ChatGPT to break this down for you, but pick the Rodecaster Video S if you want a streamlined, simpler setup where one device handles video, audio, streaming, and you're willing to trade off some modular expandability. Pick the A10 Mini Pro ISO if your primary focus is camera switching plus isolated feeds for like the ISO functionality. Yeah, I learned what ISO was fairly recently from all this research. Actually, to be fair, I don't even know what ISO means from like from a camera perspective. What is ISO? Oh, I think I knew this before. Hold on. ISO. Sensor. Oh, shit. Yeah, so I didn't even know what the original ISO was for like photography, videography stuff. And then I learned recently that ISO for like these switcher technologies where it technically will record each of your camera sources separately, individually or whatever, such that if something happens to the broadcast, or even just regardless, you'll have all of those files saved to do with it what you will. But I don't even know what it stands for either of them. Pick the A10 Mini Pro ISO if your primary focus is camera switching and isolated feeds, and you're already comfortable with external mics, mixers, LUT gear, and the video switching part is the main missing piece. External mics. I see, so yeah. Well, the reason I would lean towards the A10... Okay, so for my home setup, it sounds like a Rodecaster could make sense, but I'm currently trying to figure out doing some like travel-based streams. And for that, I need something that can do everything, but is durable enough to handle traveling abroad with it. I do like that the Rodecaster is very small in size. L says, not saying they break down, but saying that it can be less expensive to repair if something breaks. Okay. Swiss is terrible. It's pronounced ISO. Okay. File system standard published by the International Organization for Standardization. Wait, that doesn't make sense. That's an iOS. International, or do you mean International Standardization Organization? Either way, that's a shitty name. In computer terms, ISO was similar to a zip. Okay. Photo says, however, the Rodecaster only does 1080. You can do 4K with the Rodecaster. That's one of the trade-offs with all that in one type unit. I don't really need 4K, although for the... Hold on, let me take that back. For a broadcast, I think 1080 is fine. I don't think I'm at a point yet where I see any time a need for me to be live streaming at 4K. That seems a bit overkill. The only reason I can see myself doing 4K is if I had some weird functionality where I can punch in on one of my video feeds while I'm streaming, or if I got to a point where like my editor could take my live stream as it's streamed and then wants to punch it in. But yeah, that seems so niche, or like I don't think that's the right solutions. Now, in terms of what gets recorded, I wouldn't mind having 4K quality of the ISO, or like the recorded stuff. So whatever gets offloaded, because then that one obviously I can use to make sure if I want to create some really proper content and punch in and stuff, I have 4K or 8K. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so I don't know. Honyasa says, I don't work in immigration. I did my apprenticeship there, though. Very boring work. Not recommend. Fair enough. Is the Rodecaster any good? It seems you're happy with the A10. King Kruk is asking. I'm not sure who you're asking, because I don't own either of them. So I just know of A10. As I started doing my own research on this, A10 just happened to be the brand that got brought up consistently. So my assumption was like these guys are market leaders in the space for these kind of like switching boards or whatever. But now Photo Elite has thrown a curveball at me and shown me this recently announced Rodecaster Video S, which seems like it has different functionalities. And then BD in the chat had previously told me that the problem with the Blackmagic, the ATEM, is that they're usually pretty shitty with audio. And I didn't exactly know what BD meant by that. But it sounds like the ATEMs are more focused for video switching as opposed to the audio. And it's good for the ISO recording. Swiss wants that AK baby. We want to see the nose hairs on the gorilla. Yeah. But, yeah. I guess, yeah, as a viewer, if I was streaming at 4K, you should be able to, I guess, zoom in on the video itself. I didn't think about that, but... need that 17K stream resolution with the Blackmagic Ursa 17K. Yo, does Twitch or YouTube even allow for that? What is the maximum that you could actually stream? Oh yeah, because I am trying to export. I do want to publish a video onto YouTube soon, which is like the 5-hour. It's my 5-hour content. Technically, I should be able to finish it fairly soon, because now I do have all the... I can start licensing all the songs from MusicBed. Where is it? Yeah, so I have my 5-hour long... yeah, my 5-hour long footage of chimps in 6K. So I was going to upload this to YouTube in 6K resolution. Because I think I did read YouTube does allow for pretty high resolution. The Rodecaster you can take with you anywhere. Yeah, that thing looks very, very mobile. YouTube is holding us back, not giving us that 17K streaming option. Dude, 17K, my God, that's crazy. The question I guess I have is, would I rather have a camera that shoots 17K, or would I rather have a camera that shoots 1000 frames per second? And you know what? I have to give it some thought. Because if I could film, I'm assuming I don't know what the difference is in file size, right? Because 1000 frames per second must be a pretty heavy file size as well. So let's assume that both are equal in file size. Would I prefer 17K resolution, or would I prefer 1000 frames per second? And like for my wildlife needs, both can have a purpose. Because obviously if I shoot at 17K, I can punch in on the shot to like a far away snow leopard or whatever. So then I could actually end up retaining some really good quality from afar. And wildlife tends to be very far away. But then with 1000 frames per second, oh my God, you know? Because then, you know, like your typical safaris, you can, you know, slap on a 400 or 600. Imagine a cheetah hunt at 1000 frames per second. Yo, Swiss Army, let's do a trip together soon once you get that Pixboom. Because if you capture a cheetah hunt at 1000 frames per second, oh man. 8K is the limit on videos on YouTube. Nobody has more than an 8K screen to watch on anyways. Yeah. Bitrate versus resolution. Bitrate wins every day. 1000 frames per second in 4K. Yeah, you know what? That 1000 frames, I feel like there probably is more use case for it. Yeah, yeah. I literally have taken my Rodecaster Duo with me traveling around Sweden and travel back and forth to the US. It lived in my bag. Just treat it with other piece of gear. Gotcha. Photo, do you mean when you took it with you, why did you take it with you? Were you like doing live streams and stuff with it? Fed says even 1080p raw with low compression looks pretty nice. Yeah, okay, okay. Answer solved. Or answer is 1000 frames per second. 6K is 19, 4K is 9 megapixels, yeah. Hold on, we were supposed to watch this video.
USB-C connections on the Rodecaster Video S, but you can still connect a webcam, you can still connect it, you know, to your computer, connect an SSD, all that kind of stuff. And you also lose these little antenna connections because the full-size Rodecaster Video comes with antennas. So if you're doing things wirelessly or whatever, you can then kind of boost your signal. So that's why it's not exactly the same as the Rodecaster Duo versus the Rodecaster Pro 2, because there are more differences between the Rodecaster Video and the Rodecaster Video S. But the thing with the Rodecaster Video is it's really not necessarily geared towards people like myself. It's really not geared towards like home creators, solo creators, kind of even really content creators. It's geared towards podcasters, and it's geared towards like live event production and that sort of thing, corporate.
Okay, so basically he was like saying it's not really meant for anything you do, is what I just heard. Because I don't do podcasts. King says, this whole time I thought you were rocking the ATEM. Nope, nope. Oh, you might have heard me say ATEM, but I was referring to AITUM for like multi-streaming. I use basic stuff, right? I'm learning these things as we go. I just have my cameras with the cam link hooked up to my computer, essentially. And then I have OBS. Yeah. But it sounds like maybe I should be considering one of these guys, especially for the fact that I can just plug in all my cameras. Wait, actually, yeah, so I'm assuming whether it's the Rodecaster or the ATEM, I could plug in all my cameras instead of the cam links, and it should then stream out 1080p, let's say, for all three without issues. That's the hope. But nobody was complaining about the old Aries, which had less than 4K. Yeah. Max for Twitch is 4K, but you need to do the encoding locally, and that's only supported with the NVENC encoders. You need one hell of a beefy GPU to do all that. Photo, when you say that, I don't know if you're referring to like some kind of PC thing or if that works with the Mac. To be fair, my Mac Studio is really powerful. It's like the M3, it's like the fully spec'd out M3 version. Very, very expensive, like cost me an arm and a leg, but I figured it was a good investment. Fed says maybe some were complaining when doing compositing and CGI. Many are still working the Alexa Mini and no 4K. Okay. File system standard published by the International... Yo, Swiss, you did it again. But what? I'm so confused. Because Swiss, you just wrote it again as International Organization for Standardization. But then you're saying ISO. But that's iOS, right? They complain about the RE RAW and the file sizes. Unnecessary to have low compression. I shot a project on the 35 and 2 LFs and came away with 35 terabyte of footage. Oh, man. Photo, you said I wasn't streaming while in the US, but my Rodecaster Duo has internal recording, so I used it to keep working on my podcast while I was in the US. Oh, interesting, interesting. Okay. Yeah, that was a miscopy paste. Oh, okay, okay. And the 35 has more compression options too. Interesting.
Stuff, which is also why the 1080 workflow has really not been a problem for the most part, because a lot of those situations are based around 1080 workflows. The Rodecaster Video S, with the things they've taken out and the price point, I think is not only geared towards those things if you just don't need everything that this does, but it does kind of open it up much more practically to the home creator, the solo creator, the the content creator space, and that is pretty exciting. So I have literally nothing bad to say about Rodecaster
what he
Video
said.
S. I think it's awesome. It can't do everything that the full size version can do, but it can do a lot, and for the price, it's amazing. Especially if you think that a base model A10 Mini with 4 HDMI inputs is $300. You spend $200 more, and you get a heck of a lot more built-in functionality, and you get the audio on this. It might as well not have it. It's so bad. You get really, really nice, essentially a roadcaster.
Okay, what does that mean though? Because now everybody's saying this, right? Everybody's saying, hey, the A10 Mini, the audio is really bad. What does that mean? Like, how noticeably bad is the audio? Are we talking here? Oh, is it because they're saying there is no XLR cable or there's no like XLR input? So it'd be like the same issue I had where I'm like doing a USB mic, in which case, if I have an A10 Mini ISO Pro, I would keep my Scarlett Focusrite to just maintain the audio quality, but I would try not to use the A10 Mini to actually hook up any of the audio directly. Okay, I think that's if I understand that correctly.
That the audio inputs is $300. You spend $200 more, and you get a heck of a lot more built-in functionality. And you get the audio on this. It might as well not have it. It's so bad. You get really, really nice, essentially a Rodecaster Duo built inside for just a couple $100 more than this. And that is the problem. The Rodecaster Video S highlights some issues with the original Rodecaster Video, especially now that it's been out for a while. This is too expensive. The price difference between the Duo and the Rodecaster Pro 2 is $200. We're dealing with video here. Video is way more complex than audio, so I know it's not going to be a $200 difference. This, the full-size Rodecaster Video, I think needs to be under $1,000. Ideally, $899. Make it a $900 device. You get the Rodecaster Video S for $500. You get this one for $900. That, I think, is very, very fair. And the reason for that is 4K, which is always a thing that I have for years now explained why switchers like this, it's not practical to have 4K in them because 4K requires more processing power, it drives up the price, it makes things more expensive. But the problem is, as I've said, I've been explaining that for years. And so 1, 2, 3, 4 years ago, that was a lot more true than it is now. Now, 4K is becoming more standard, it's becoming more accessible, and it's becoming more expected. Not just being able to record in 4K, but also being able to stream and just sort of output things into 4K. Even if you are doing a live event, and that only needs to be streamed or handled in that event space in 1080, being able to record that in a 4K workflow, I think is very important. So,
yay! This guy's saying exactly what I was just saying here. Nice. Speaking my language, okay? Yeah, because I was like saying like, I think for a live stream, 1080 is fine. I just don't see the value, or yeah, I don't think it's worth the extra, bandwidth necessary for streaming at 4K. But then, for my recordings, I would love it in 4K. If I shot at 4K, I would love at 4K. So, yeah. Your Mac Studio is not powerful enough? Damn. Okay, fair enough. King says, if you're considering the Alexa 35 or Venice 2, maybe you can... Okay, what are these things? Let's look it up. Alexa 35 or Venice 2. I'm just so used to the ability of R3D and being perfectly happy at low quality or medium quality. I haven't seen medium quality. And even some interviews in extra low quality. Is that what ELQ stands for? For some work, we rent larger cameras like the Alexa, but I prefer working with lighter cameras. Same for me with the R3D and the B-RAW, the BRA. Venice 2 is a Sony lens, or Sony camera, I mean. And the Alexa is the RE one, right? Yeah. Let's check these out real quick. We need your consent to load the Vimeo service. Well, how much is this Alexa 35? High speeds up to 660. Oh, have we looked at this already? I might have looked at this earlier. 660 frames per second. Oh, that looks juicy. Sensor overdrive. To be fair, I think 120 frames, 240 maximum, I feel like those two are good enough. Like, because especially these days with all the digital softwares, you can like digitally slow down your footage significantly beyond what you should be able to. And like the whole interpolation processing, whatever technical mumbo jumbo, it seems like these softwares are able to do a really good job of rendering those out such that it's not noticeable, but you do get that really nice mimicking like a 500 frames per second or more, right? So I feel like, yeah, I think in some ways shooting at 120 to 240 tends to be enough. It's serviceable, but also I guess it just depends on what niche you're working in. That's crazy. Do the Dougie. You can't use your current mic? What do you mean? Photo, you're saying I can't use this mic with the Rodecaster? But I thought the with the ATEM, it sounds like I would need to keep the Scarlett. But I thought when I was looking at the Rodecaster, they do have that XLR. Or again, maybe I'm showing my ass here, but I don't know what I'm talking about. But is it not as simple as like, oh, it's got an input for XLR, so I just plug it in and boom, boom. Oh, I think maybe I misread you. I think you were saying I can't use my current mic on the ATEM because you're saying you can't even use a USB mic on an ATEM. Gotcha. Okay, I understand. Do the Dougie, says Raiden. Do I even know how to do the Dougie? MQ is pretty close to the R3D NE you used on the ZR. Oh, okay. Medium quality is pretty close to the R3D. So you're saying on the the actual Red cinema cameras, you have like a high quality version, which is like crazier. Swiss says the fire size, in my opinion, is the same as HQ. I feel that is basically no compression on the ZR. File size. Okay, yeah, I was curious what you meant. The file size is fire. I can't type. The file size is the same as HQ. There's no compression. I see. Yeah, I think Swiss, if I recall, you had mentioned something like that before, that the file size was too large on the R3D for ZR, and you were hoping for them to come up with like the same kind of a low quality concept like they do with the NRAW, if I remember that conversation. Fed says there's definitely compression. I mean, uncompressed RAW is several times larger. Yeah. For recording at 4K, you just record internally on your camera as things sit right now. Yeah, okay, that was the other thought. But then my understanding was like, let's say if you use an A10 Mini, you can connect an external SSD such that, you know, you could just have like a 2 terabyte, 4 terabyte, 8 terabyte, whatever external SSD, and then it would just record directly to that, right? And I'm assuming maybe the same is true for the Rodecaster. Like if I use one of these USB-C, plug in an external SSD, then it should be able to just stream at 1080, record at whatever I want. Swiss says 24 frames, 6K is 1550-ish Mbps. 60 is like 3300. NRAW normal's 350. NRAW HQ is like 700. Yeah, you know what? Everything I filmed was in the NRAW HQ. To be honest, I think I mentioned it before. I didn't even know that normal version existed, or I think I just like disregarded it each time. So here's the real question. Which one of these serves my needs? Let's keep listening to this guy.
For $500, the Rodecaster Video S being 1080, totally fair. I would never expect that to be a 4K device. Rode does have the very strange and often overlooked Streamer X, which is now $249, half the price of the Rodecaster Video S. You have one XLR input and you have one HDMI input, but this is 4K capable with HDMI pass-through as well. So this is like a Rodecaster Solo built into a 4K capture card. So this is the only 4K video device that Rode offers. So this is just all my opinion, of course, but from what I understand, and especially, you know, having had the Rodecaster Video since before it was even launched, Rode's #1 priority with this was reliability. And I'm guessing the same thing is true with the Rodecaster Video S. They want this to be rock solid reliable no matter how many of the features you're using. So if you're using it as a basic switcher, it's good. If you're adding in all the scenes, all the graphics, all the processing, all the chroma key, everything, still super reliable. It's much easier to make something that reliable when it's a 1080 workflow. As soon as you start adding 4K, we might be able to switch reliably, but then you're doing scenes and graphics and overlays and all the pictures and things. Then you could potentially reduce some reliability just because it takes so much more processing power to handle 4K than it does 1080. But something I've said before, and I'll say it again right here, is
Photos like, you're so slow in reading the chat that my messages are delayed with 3 to 5 minutes. Yeah, my bad. I keep mentioning it, but I'm not improving, apparently. But you know what? We did fix a bit of the delay. So shout out to AI Tum. It sounds like the delay part is fixed. Now we gotta fix the delay in my head. NRAW standard is exactly the same as R3D. Mindful. Yo, what's up, Mindful? I missed your last few lives. Have been enjoying my 2 ZRs for 2 weeks now. A few quirks, but a fantastic camera. Yo, shout out to Mindful. You know what I did recently? Because I figured this was going to be good for my... It was just a smart thing to do. Because I think sometimes I assume that people have my best interests at heart. Or that's the wrong way to say it. I just assume that people should know if I'm providing quality or if I'm, doing a good service for them or whatever. What's up, Conan? Conan says, how is you? Thank you for being here, Conan. Shout out. I believe you're from Ireland, right? I think you're like the only Irish person in the chat. It's the same bit rate. But yeah, mindful. I was gonna say, Photo says I gotta go switch my laundry over, and when I get back, I can sit down in a VC with you and answer 99% of your questions. I appreciate that. I'm sure I have more than 1,000 questions. So enjoy your laundry though. Yeah, mindful. Just quickly, I was gonna say, and a few others in the chat. I took the freaking time the past few days to go through every one of my live streams in the past month since I came back from my my Uganda trip, and I would go through each of the transcripts of my live streams, search for words to hopefully get me to where I got back to some of the things you guys have said in the chat. So like anytime you guys mentioned something about like, hey, I ended up getting the ZR after watching your video, or just like any of those kind of key compliments that I should technically just screenshot and have it ready to go as like proof points that I could send to a Nikon or to any brands in the future to be like, hey, you know, I'm a small creator, but here, look at the impact that we're able to, you know, do as a content creator. So shout out to Mindful Grinds, Fedorevsky as well, Swiss Army Cinema, all you guys. I did screenshot and track some of the kind words you guys had said. And so hopefully that can make a difference when it comes to like pitching things or working with Nikon and trying to get them to be like, hey, you know, because on their, like, you know, Nikon's a big organization. It's not like they really know who I am. So it's like silly of me to assume that they are browsing through all the comment sections of whatever videos that I posted. So it's up to me. It's like my initiative to like send it to them and be like, here's the impact that we had from this campaign. So anyways, just a lot of word salad to be like, hey, thank you guys. I appreciate it. Swissy said, I was confused with your use of the word standard. HQ NRAW 6K is the same as R3D 6K. Okay. They call the high on... Oh, I see. They call the high on NRAW standard for some reason, and the low is normal. Yeah, what does my camera say? Hey, look who decided to show up. She's in her seat now over there. The beautiful Nala. She looked over. Let me adjust the focus. And I think I see Kimpop. I think Kimpop is behind her. Yeah, you know what? Every so often they switch up where they enjoy spending time. So you can see Kimpop right there on the tree, the cat tree in the background. So Swiss said a multi-billion-dollar company is watching the stream right now. Yeah. Talk about the hubris that there's a lot of words you can use to describe my ignorance for thinking that way. Now, to be fair, I'm kind of overplaying it. It's not like I literally thought these things. It was more just like, hey, hopefully locally they see the value of my the videos that I created. And hopefully that gets trickled up in some way for them on the next projects to reach out to me. But it's like, it's a silly way to think of it, of just trying to rely on people. Yeah, I have to create my own success, essentially. So nobody else is going to take the time to scour through, find all the key moments of like some conversion that happens or some like key compliment, and then share it across to the higher ups to be like, here's blah, blah, blah. So that's my job. So Swiss Army says, your producer... Oh, hold on. King says, shame on your producer for not compiling all the positive comments for Nikon products. You may need to hire a new producer. Yeah, what am I going to do? Fire myself and rehire myself, unfortunately? Your producer is ChatGPT? Yeah, I guess. Well, for this one, nobody could help me besides myself. I literally had to go to each freaking YouTube video, click on the button that says show transcript, Control F, and I was looking for words like ZR, Nikon, screenshot, because I think a few times I would even say it out loud, like, oh, I need to screenshot this, what someone said. And then I have to go through the comments of the past videos that I made. Screenshot, grab them. I literally created a Google Sheet where in the Google Sheet, I typed out each of the comments. I put the username. I put them in folders in my Finder folder by username. And I even categorized by, hey, was this someone who was directly influenced or said in their comments, unless they're lying, that they've directly purchased a ZR thanks to some level of my influence? Are they partial influences, or they're considering now a ZR because of whatever I did? How many people sent messages asking about like peripheral equipment like lenses, what did I shoot with, all that kind of stuff. Like, I go a little bit OCD on these things, but yeah, who else is gonna spend the time to do that if not me? So, oh shoot, but I forgot, I need to send that. Mindful, you're the boss, make your money work for you. Yeah, unfortunately, I'm paying myself out of my own pocket, so maybe we can get Yobel's mom to do it. Yo, my mom's visiting, in a month from now, but yeah, she will not be on the stream. I don't think I'll be streaming for the latter half of December when she's here. It's her first time visiting Dubai, so, you know, we gotta show her a good time. And the weather's nice in Dubai at the time, so, you know, we'll explore. Mindful says, you're doing fantastic. Your mini documentary with the ZR was the best one out there, in my opinion. For me, it was because of how connected to sustainability and the disappearing nature. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, that's good to... Yeah, I appreciate that extra bit of context because... Yeah, like I think the storytelling aspect of it is something I want to continue, obviously, building up. But I also want to see if the kind of story I like capturing could resonate with people. And that is essentially the type of stories I would love to find, is like that intersection between humanity and wildlife and nature, and trying to tell a story about the interconnectivity between it all, or like the balance between it all. Fed's still waiting for the ZR. The waiting list is long in my country. Yo, Fed, as I was going through all the screenshots or all the streams, I think I remember you said something at one point. I think you said you weren't going to receive the camera until April or February. And then I think at some point you said, oh, it's now saying November. I do remember, I think it was you, where you said like the expectations kept changing in terms of when it would arrive. Swiss says, you still don't have one? Wow. Mindful says, I'm so far impressed by the 265. Everyone is focused on R3D. The 265 and the ZR is absolutely awesome. The color science and soft highlights are so smooth and natural. That's interesting because I haven't caught up on a lot of the reviews of late, but I could have sworn I saw some review videos where they were saying they thought that 265 wasn't that good or that it needed improvements. But that could have been the pre-production units. I don't know if they made some adjustments or it's just a small sample size. Fed's a small population, so we get a few at a time. R30 is about post workflow. Mindful, Yoba was the only ZR review that was actually useful. Yo, those are strong words. I disagree with you, King, because I watched a bunch of those videos and I thought they were useful, like the Mati, Hapoji, what was his... Yeah, there's a few. There's a few that I watched where I was like, oh, these are actually really interesting. All others were the usual Gerald Undone. I really like the Gerald Undone guy. He seems like really technically sound. But I'll take your compliment, King. Swiss says, I can make any camera look like a million movie if I have enough control of lighting. That's one thing I have learned recently from all these videos I've been watching, is like the power of lighting is tremendous. R3D gives me control over the world when I have no control on set. That's a good tagline. Yeah, I should send that to Nikon. That's a good tagline. Local camera shop where I pre-ordered is the main distributor of Nikon 2 in the country. You need to schmooze your camera reps, use that Norwegian charm on another Norwegian. Yeah, can you charm another Norwegian with your Norwegianness? I'm sure everyone on the list did that. Yeah. NCL is my favorite cruise at the moment. What is that? Yeah, I don't know what that means. I hate when people do those comparisons and slap a CST on different cameras to show how they look the same. Doesn't say anything about how well the files work in post. Well, you guys are the more technical people, so it's good to know these things.
I do really wish, I guess in an ideal world, I would love for some 4K functionality to be added to the Rodecaster video. It'd be cool if it was also on the S, but at least the more expensive Rodecaster video through a firmware update. My proposal is to just make it a simple 4K switcher. So add a mode, essentially, that is like 4K mode, and then you don't get any of the fancy stuff. You don't get the scenes and the graphics and the overlays, you just switch between sources, you just record your 4K sources. As the user, I can then decide, I'm doing a 4K workflow, I will just switch between my 4K sources, or...
Yeah. I still, yeah, I'm trying to think, like, when would I ever need 4K quality for my stream? Because right now, everything so far has been in 1080. I think the first few months, it was 1080, 24 frames. Because my thought process was, if I'm editing videos onto a 24 frame rate timeline in DaVinci, so I was like, oh, then maybe I should make my actual live stream the same frame rate. I don't know if that logic even holds, but that was my thought process. And then it sounded like 30 frames is technically the frame rate that is the most user friendly, or I don't know, like it seems to be the one that Twitch and YouTube perhaps prefer. So yeah, I decided to switch it over to 30. But if I do 4K, it just means it would take up a lot more bandwidth, which I technically could afford in my home studio with my network connection, all that kind of stuff. But if I were to do some IRL streaming, then we're talking like a much limited bandwidth. So I just don't see the value in like even attempting a 4K live stream for that purpose. But iPhone versus Ari, nice. Yo, it's LN-XN4PC. Says GG's Pontianak Hadir. Oh no, I don't know what that means, what language that is. But thank you, XN4PC, for being in the chat on the YouTube side. Swiss happens every year when the new iPhone comes out. DaVinci Resolve of the iPhone. King says, I appreciate your modesty, but I cannot listen to you say those shill names and say good. From a sensor the size of a speck. My dad worked on the planning on building cruise ships. Oh, wow. Damn. Yeah, 4K is overrated. Greater than 90% of videos are watched in portrait mode on a mobile phone. Yeah, even when I listen to other like live streams, whether generally speaking it's on YouTube. Occasionally I test out Kick just for my own knowledge. And then Twitch, I just don't like the fact that you can't rewind. YouTube is, in my opinion, the best for like watching like in ambient mode, generally speaking, because like I can speed it up, I can catch up on the stream and all that fun stuff. But although it's annoying because like on YouTube, if I exit the YouTube app, it doesn't stay fixed as a window on my phone, whereas Twitch and Kick seem to do that. Anyway, sorry. Point is, I agree with you. Either I'm vertically on my phone, or it's in my pocket, or it's just like on speaker mode and I'm just like doing other things. So I don't think that makes 4K overrated. Yeah, maybe it's not, maybe overrated's the wrong word, but it's just like, I don't think it's, I think it's probably not underutilized. I just don't think you're getting as much impact out of a 4K stream compared to the cost of it in terms of, yeah, bandwidth, like monetarily speaking, all of it. Maybe you should be streaming in 9:16 then. Dude, oh, you know what? One thing I do want to start doing is streaming in vertical mode to TikTok or Instagram. But here's the thing. I technically, although I haven't touched my TikTok in a while, that sounds very sexual for some reason. I haven't touched my TikTok in a while. But on TikTok, I did blow up randomly with one of my videos going viral, and it did get me over 100,000 followers. Since then, it's been over a year or two. It's dropped to like, I think I have like 90 something thousand. But yeah, I technically have a big following on TikTok. So I think maybe that means I've like ticked there's like a, you know, whatever requirements to be able to be live streaming on TikTok. So I need to double check that, because like if I can have access to TikTok live in the desktop mode, then I should be able to integrate that into my live streaming and just broadcast out to TikTok in addition to YouTube and Twitch, hopefully Kick again. Because yeah, that'd be interesting. I mean, I would like to explore TikTok in various ways. You still want to shoot at least 4K? Yeah, Fed, exactly. So my current process is that I want to film everything. All my cameras would be set to at least 4K. Recording at 4K, maybe higher, potentially. Depends on whatever external, like the memory cards that I have. But whatever is streamed, I would want it to be in 1080. And I guess where I get a bit concerned is, yeah, it just depends how long of a stream we're talking about. If I'm streaming for like 3 to 5 hours in 4K, or sorry, if I'm streaming 3 to 5 hours, but I'm live streaming it at 1080, but then if I'm saving it as a 4K quality, how much of a file size, like, yeah, what's your file size need to be? Or like, what is the SSD size need to be? That sounds crazy. I've been living on 8K for years now. Gotcha. Shoot in 6K. You're cheating on it with your YouTube. Okay.
Or I want all that fancy stuff, I will go to 1080 so I get all the fancy stuff. Because even then, the stripped down version would still be a 4K multi-input switcher with the best audio of any video switcher that exists. So it would still be an incredibly powerful device, and then the user would get to decide.
I still need to know
you wanna
what's the
give up features
big
or not
difference
for
in the
4K. I think
audio.
that would be fair. The other option, if we're not doing firmware updates and this is going to be 1080, the Rodecaster Video S is going to be 1080, that's where I really think this price needs to come down, and then there could be a 4K version that is maybe around like the $1,400 or $1,500 price point. So this is $900-ish, and then that one's like $1,400 or $1,500, the 4K version. And the reason for that, the reason I think that is, oh, this is heavy, because of this right here, the YOLO Box Extreme. This is $1,900.
Oh, YOLO Box, that was the other one.
But it is 4K capable. This is the one multi-input 4K switcher that exists. And YOLO did a version of exactly what I'm describing here, which is you can use 4K, but there are limitations. Meaning this is an 8-input switcher, so you have 8 HDMI sources, but only 5 of them are 4K capable. So if you want to use a 4K workflow, you can only use 5 of your 8 inputs. The other 3 are just stuck to 1080. 5 4K inputs is still a lot of 4K, and this works really, really well. So I think it is worth 4King over the cash for something like this. But 8 inputs. We're only talking about 4 inputs here.
Wait, why not get a YOLO box?
$1899, $1,900. $1,500
oh, that's
for
expensive.
a 4K version of the Rodecaster Video seems fair to me because you don't have the built-in display.
Yoba, how do you script your YouTube videos? I will have a conversation with ChatGPT where I'll just spit out all of my thoughts, and I'll I'll write out in my voice, if you will, and then I'll see whatever ChatGPT comes back with. Usually 65% of the time, I feel like ChatGPT doesn't nail it. It just doesn't understand the tonality or whatever, but I will find some value in it in terms of sometimes how it structures my thoughts or just a few key words here and there. So then I kind of use that to then create a version 2, version 3. I use Notion to kind of just track all my script. And then, yeah. But like I haven't had enough practice yet, right? So we're not a proper YouTuber yet where I'm like making review videos every week or like this guy or whatever. And then one thing I'm still testing out is I got my... So yeah, I have my little teleprompter here. So I want to keep doing more teleprompter videos just because I need to be faster with my videos. So if I can use a teleprompter and just make sure I maintain a voice that doesn't scream like, oh, this guy's reading off of a teleprompter, then I hope that should help speed up the amount of videos that I can publish. And then also I want to be better at just speaking off the cuff as well. But yeah, I don't know. I haven't figured it out just yet. I'm sure everyone's phones will be 4K despite the screens being so small. Time doesn't stand still. Yeah, that's true. But wait, how come we haven't talked about this YOLO box?
Which also then includes a whole operating system and everything. The Rodecaster Video has to be connected to at least an external display to kind of see everything that it's doing. If not, a computer so that you can go into the Rode app and then build everything there. It's possible, but not very enjoyable to just do everything from this if it's not connected to something. So you do need those extra connectivity things, which is why I don't think it should be the same price as the YOLO Box Extreme. You also don't have as many inputs. This is just a more fully featured.
Okay, I should probably take notes about this too, comparing and contrasting. But it sounds like what he's saying is with the Rodecaster and the ATEM, because it doesn't have like an actual display, you would also need to hook up like some kind of external monitor and also like a external PC. Whereas with the YOLO box, it looks like the entire thing is a display.
Has to be connected to at least built-in display. $1,900. $1,500 for a full 4K version of the Rodecaster Video seems fair to me because
Yobo is still in his dark studio phase. He'll be a legit product reviewer when he goes into the light. Wait, are you talking about the bright? Are we talking about legit light and dark, or is my studio super dark? I think I got that. You know what? I think you're right. I think I got that as a critique on one of my videos where they were saying, oh, you should probably bump up your exposure by like a couple stops. But I like the dark mode. I'm just a dark mode guy, you know? But yeah, I think okay, so as I look at my screen right now, I feel like the lighting for the lenses are way too dark. You can't even see anything on the top shelf. So, yeah. Okay. Well, also, it is kind of dark because I put an ND filter on. Right now, these are just like temporary settings. So I'm shooting in the second native ISO. This is actually at 6400 ISO. And then I've put on an ND filter. So, yeah, this is probably not ideal, but let's see. Because the problem I was running into here is I think just with the brightness that I have set up with this light for now, the issue is that if I bump it up so you can see the shelf here, it just makes the cat too bright. So I just have one light source for both the bookshelf and the cat. So yeah, I need to figure that out. Okay, this is like a happy medium maybe. You're fine, but all reviewers are in a well-lit studio. Yeah, like look at this guy, right? This guy's got a poppy colors. I mean, I like it. I like it. I guess it fits a more welcoming personality type, I guess. So I don't know how much of psychology is built into like the studio sets, but I can see how these colors would make you feel more like, oh, this guy is a friendly dude, you know? Come into my van, little child. Kind of, wait, okay. Maybe that's a little too far, but you get what I'm saying. Yobel is still edgy and moody lighting. I like the dark stuff. I personally feel the OSEE Go Stream is the best value. I work with the doctor that uses it and I've been able to adjust it so well for him to stream and use a screen share with it for presentations. What is, man, we're adding more stuff to our list here. What'd you call it? The OSEE Go Stream. And then I need to look up YOLO Box. Go Stream Deck. Man, so many choices. Crazy. I just need the one that the professionals use, where they know like if you use this product, it will never fail you when you're out on a trip, right? If you're on a travel project, you just need one of these, boom, you're good to go. I was thinking more about how most people watch movies now on their phone for some weird reason, how eventually they will be watching in 4K. Yeah, I mean, I'm sure at some point it's going to be like always double, like the people will be laughing if you're watching something at 10K. Product reviewer status with ND change. Yeah. When you stream like you do, you need the lower light for the cozy feel, especially for the cat cams. Yeah, it's like a nice little spotlight on these guys, you know? Actually, yeah, how does it look? Hold on. It's all about filming in mega resolution, scaled down. Then you post blur out skin until it's smooth like butter. He looks like a typical Spanish cyclist who watches Tour de France too much. Oh man, is that a good thing? I have no idea. Cooking these reviewers, yeah, I didn't mean to. My bad to whoever this guy is, Tom Buck. Yeah, disregard that. What last comment I said about the, you know, the van comment. My point I was trying to make was that hey, he looks very like friendly, and yeah, he looks very child friendly. Was actually what I was trying to say, but it went in the wrong direction there. Blur that highlight contrast, but retain tons of details. YouTube needs to add a voice to chat function natively. I hate typing. Yeah. Go with ATEM with an SDI. You're in the big leagues now. Okay. GoStream is just like the ATEM Mini, but you can use the USB for webcam at the same time. Okay. SDI wouldn't do him any good because everything is HDMI. But okay, I read something about, okay, so what if I have my camera, which obviously in the ZR case, it's a micro HDMI, but then my other cameras are HDMI. But let's say we have a micro HDMI and we go from a micro HDMI to an SDI, and then the SDI connects into the ATEM. Would that allow for a more stable connection than if you do a micro HDMI to an HDMI directly to the ATEM or to the switcher? Agreed, but SDI is useless when using CDMI devices. Man, I need to relabel my streams as like tech advice. This is the tech advice corner. Welcome to our tech advice live stream. We don't do any photo video editing. Nah. We're just trying to figure out tech stuff. Okay, now I think this is about the right time for me to ask ChatGPT a question. Okay, Amber, I want you to put on your thickest and biggest tech geek hat on for this question. Before the question, here's the context. I'm trying to figure out what is the best switcher that I should use for two different scenarios. One was for my home studio, for my live streams, where I have, you know, at least 3 cameras that I'm using, possibly more in the future. But let's say for now I have 3 cameras that I currelly have hooked up to Elgato Camlinks 4Ks individually, plugged back into my Mac Studio. Now, it seems like there are better solutions than that to consider. And the other use case is when I start doing travel live streams, I would like to figure out what kind of switcher would I possibly need to take with me that would allow me to have multiple camera setups while I'm traveling. So point is, if I have multicam setup and I want to live stream via OBS or whatever, and I want to stream, let's say, at least to YouTube and Twitch, and I don't think I need to broadcast at 4K. Realistically, I think live stream wise, I'm happy with 1080 quality, especially for the travel concept. But I would like the ability to record in whatever native resolution I was shooting at. So anyways, the options here are the Blackmagic A10 Mini ISO Pro or the Extreme ISO. Then there's the Rodecaster Video S. And two other contenders are the GoStream deck, and the last one is from YOLO Box. So between those four brands, which one is the one that most professionals trust for its reliability, durability, and quality?
All right, putting on the biggest tech geek hat for you. So if we're looking at those four options, Blackmagic A10 Mini ISO lineup, the Rodecaster Video, and contenders like the GoStream or YOLO Box, here's the gist. The Blackmagic A10 series is kind of the tried and true veteran, super well known in the industry, and a lot of professionals rely on it because it's durable, it works smoothly with OBS and other software, and it's got that multi-view and ISO recording capability that really shines. So if you want reliability and kind of a trusted professional standard, the A10 is a great bet. Now, the Rodecaster Video is newer and is definitely a solid contender, especially if you like the Rode ecosystem. It's got some neat features and it's quite user-friendly, but it's a bit more of a newcomer in the video switching space, so it's not as universally battle-tested as the A10 series. The YOLO Box is interesting because it's kind of an all-in-one streaming and switching device, which can be super handy for travel. It's portable and you can just run everything on that single device without needing a laptop. But it's not necessarily as robust in terms of the professional level features and flexibility as the A10. And then the GoStream is kind of in a similar boat. It's more of a niche solution. It can work, but it doesn't have quite the same level of trust and reliability as Blackmagic. So if you want the safe professional choice, I'd say the A10 Mini ISO or the A10 Extreme ISO is the most trusted and most widely used among professionals. It's got the track record and it'll work great both at home and on the road.
Okay, give me 1 second.
Sure, take your time. If you need any more details or have any other questions once you're ready, just let me know.
Swiss says avoid as many points of failure as possible. A big point of failure is slow internet speeds. Yeah, so that's the biggest issue, especially if I'm traveling, is just maintaining the connection. Mindful says I run Blackmagic Television Studios, and it is a pain to use SDI to HDMI conversion because the USB power comes loose occasionally. Huh. So what's the best solution for that? King's saying that Yobel's producer, Amber, is wildin'. Damn. Okay, I'll let her know. Professionals would trust the Blackmagic products. That's why I got them. Yeah, from my personal anecdote, right? Ding, ding, ding. From my brief researching throughout all this, A10 was the brand that constantly popped up. And a lot of my research is coming from ChatGPT, so there could be a bit of a, bias there. But that is the one that I've heard the most. YOLO, I've never heard of it online, but I know in reality, in real life, there was some kind of, maybe it was a Nikon event, some kind of event, and they were doing some live streaming, and they had a YOLO box. So that was the first time I learned about this thing called the YOLO box, because the name was so interesting, YOLO. The one that someone mentioned, the GoStream, I've never heard of that. And then Rodecaster, I know of Rodecaster and Rode, I guess. I just never, I didn't know they had a product similar. And then the big question for me is about the sound quality, which we need to figure out. Going Blackmagic is a way to stay on a mindful grind. Nice. But I will say that once you add hyperdecks and converters, you will be 2,000 to 3,000 in at the same capability as the $300 GoStream. Damn, what? What sound mixer are you using? I am using no sound mixer. I'm just using my Scarlett Focusrite. Yeah, that's it. Scarlett Focusrite and whatever OBS settings to adjust the audio. We be basic up in this biatch. All right, let's ask Amber something. Okay, Amber, a few things. One, someone in my chat is saying that you're wildin' with your opinions. So I don't know what that means. I don't know if they're disagreeing with your assessment, but just passing on the message, if you will. Now, another thing is that some people, one person is mentioning how if you get a $300 Go Stream, it's actually the same capability as if you spent $2,000 to $3,000 to get the hyperdecks and converters with one of the other brands. So that's just another comment. I don't know the veracity of any of all this. I'm confused more than anything. Now, one thing I do want to keep in mind is a lot of the opinions I have heard is that with the ATEM products, they don't seem to do good with sound. So either they don't have the XLR cables, or even if you were to plug in some external microphone or audio source, it seems like people are saying it's not of good quality. I don't know what that quality means. Does that mean that the sound is jarbled or stuttery, or I don't know? But that's one thing I've been hearing. Now with the Rodecaster, that it does have a built-in XLR input, and it seems like for audio stuff, the Rodecaster seems the best option. And then, yeah, I think that's just a few comments that I'm hearing. For me, it's just about I want the most durable, like I said. I think you mentioned something about the YOLO box can do all in one. So are you saying if I have an ATEM Mini or the Rodecaster, I would still need some kind of a mini PC or a laptop while I'm traveling to be able to properly stream?
All right, let me break all that down and clarify a bit. So first off, no worries if folks in the chat have different takes. The streaming and switching world is full of opinions, and everyone that had their favorite gear. Now to the specifics. It's true the ATEM line doesn't have the same built-in audio capabilities that something like the Rodecaster has. The ATEM is more video-centric, and while it can handle audio, it's not necessarily known for pristine audio inputs. That doesn't mean the audio's bad, but it just might not be as flexible or high quality as a dedicated audio-focused device like the Rodecaster, which is designed specifically with audio in mind. So if audio is a huge priority and you want those XLR inputs and that kind of soundboard functionality, the Rodecaster is definitely a leader in that category. As for the YOLO box, yeah, that's what I meant by all-in-one. The YOLO box is kind of like having a mini streaming studio in one portable device. You can switch cameras, you can stream directly from it without needing a separate laptop or PC. It's pretty self-contained, so if you're traveling and you want a really compact setup, it can be a nice option, but it might not have all the advanced features or the same level of reliability that something like an ATEM has. In other words, yes, if you go with something like the ATEM or even the Rodecaster, you typically still want a laptop or a mini PC to run your streaming software like OBS. The ATEM is a switcher, but it's not a standalone streaming device by itself. The YOLO box, on the other hand, can handle the whole streaming process on its own without a separate computer. So it really comes down to whether you want that all-in-one convenience of the YOLO box or the more traditional, super reliable, but slightly more gear-heavy setup of the ATEM and a laptop. Both have their strengths, so it just depends on which trade-offs you prefer.
Wait, if I have a YOLO box, am I able to like run OBS and am I able to run OBS off of the YOLO box?
So the YOLO box is actually its own standalone system, and it doesn't run OBS directly on it. It's basically got its own built-in streaming software. So you can do switching, you can do streaming, you can add some graphics and overlays, but it's all within the YOLO box's own interface. It doesn't let you run OBS or other desktop streaming software on it. So basically, if you're using a YOLO box, you're using its own all-in-one streaming platform. If you want to use OBS specifically, then you typically need a laptop or a mini PC in addition to something like an ATEM or a Rodecaster. So the YOLO box is more like a self-contained solution, but it doesn't run third-party software like OBS.
Okay, because then I feel like I would still need some kind of a laptop or a mini PC or whatever, because I feel like I would want to use OBS for my streaming stuff. Television studio is a commercial product. Oh, sorry, I misheard. So Mindful, when you said television studio, I thought you just meant you work in a television studio. The solution is a television studio that has HDMI only. The ATEM Mini is not bad. I've used both the ATEM and the OC. They are the same essentially. Television studio is a commercial product, best there is, but then you need to use the software interface and then need to get an external recorder, such as the Hyperdeck. Oh my god. Television studio has XLR inputs. King, you said, Yobo, your streams are more consistent in video and audio quality than other streamers with heavier gear. Kudos to you. Mabopsa. Shit, what does that mean? Mabop. I'm a terrible Korean. Thank you very much, King. I'm glad to know that. Yeah, I'm glad to know that. The YOLO box is nice because it's all in one. It isn't perfect, but perfect for flexibility. YOLO box sounds kind of plug and play. Yeah. The problem I'm having is I'm kind of like trying to figure out two concepts here. One is like my home studio, what is the best solution to then power my daily live streams without any hiccups. And also, hopefully, in the most efficient way possible. And then the second thing is like, if I were to start traveling and doing live streams, what is the best setup that allows me to be able to bring my cameras with me? And let's say in a world where I can stream with more than one camera. So, you know, hooking up a second viewpoint and stuff like that, where a switcher could make sense. But yeah, obviously I'm kind of like stress testing a bit, or I'm like kind of stretching the limits of like, you know, do I really need that? Not necessarily, but it would be nice. It's also good learnings for me right now. But yeah, unfortunately, I'm no closer to a decision because it sounds like there's all these really good options here. YOLO box sounds good. You mentioned television studio. Switcher. Oh, it's another Blackmagic? Damn, does Blackmagic own everything? Okay, that's way too big. They say portable, and they show this big-ass thing. Get your shit out of here. The world's most portable. Something about this sounds off to me. It's like saying like the world's most portable, and then the next word is something that's like super not portable. It's like, well, thanks so much. The world's most portable, non-portable product. 3 great ATEM television studio models. Can you imagine? I carry this. I'm going through the freaking flight, and this is my carry-on. Okay. Well, listen, Mindful, I appreciate the suggestion, but this is like leagues above anything that I need to worry about in my current... I need something this size. So that also that Rodecaster, what's going for it is definitely the form factor. So if I had, what is it, up to 3 cameras, I can hook up my microphone technically. So I see this one useful in my own home studio, right? So I could use this. I could sell my Scarlett. I can sell my cam links. Hook up all 3 cameras to this bad boy. Hook up my RE20. Plug it into my Mac Studio. I don't know if the Ethernet's necessary for that. Power it on. Boom. And then for like my travel purposes, maybe it would still be the ATEM. It sounds like professionals trust this the most. And then for audio source, I guess it would either be captured separately, or let's say if I have a wireless mic. Mindful says you can use OBS with any of these solutions. OBS recognizes any USB webcam input as a camera. Using these devices is nice because they recognize as a webcam. Personally, get a video switcher like the OSE or ATEM, and then also a pod track or a Rodecaster for audio. Damn, so you're saying I have to get both? Damn it. I just want one product that does everything. Is that too much to ask for? I mean, I guess it is. Because that means you're saying like, hey, have an ATEM Mini Pro to do all your video recording, ISO stuff, ISO, whatever. And then also have the Rodecaster, which you hook up whatever audio things into. But oh yeah, but I was gonna say the ATEM has a 3.5mm audio, and you can adjust the level so it works well. Well, okay, so let's say if I'm traveling and I want to capture my audio while I'm live streaming, either one, it's the audio coming out of the camera itself, or 2, I would use like a, let's say I have my DJI mic 2s, right? So I could use my DJI mics, the wireless. I can hook up the the receiver to the camera, like the digital shoe mount, where one of the transmitters is. Am I using the right I always get the transmitter and the receivers mixed up. TX versus RX. TX is sending data out, is for receiving data in. So my assumption is the receiver is what you hook up to the, let's say, your camera shoe mount, and then the transmitters are the mics themselves. I'm pretty sure that's correct. So anyways, my point was, okay, I could have a mic hooked up to me, and then the receiver is hooked up to the camera, and then the camera is being hooked up via the HDMI input of the, let's say, the ATEM, such that the audio and video is being captured through the HDMI connection. Let me ask ChatGPT as well. I gotta sneeze first. Sneeze is dissipating. Okay, walk me through a potential technical workflow here. If I have an ATEM switcher, and let's say I want to be able to broadcast my audio. Let's say the audio is a DJI mic, where I've got a wireless mic latched onto me, and then I have the receiver hooked up to the camera's digital shoe mount. So essentially, the camera is then also with the HDMI connected back to the ATEM. So then the ATEM would be capturing the video and audio from that single source, is my understanding. In which case, would the audio's quality be fine?
Absolutely, I can walk you through that. So in that setup, you've got your DJI mic wirelessly transmitting to your camera, and your camera is feeding both the video and the audio through the HDMI output into the ATEM. That's a pretty common and clean way to do it. Essentially, the ATEM is just taking whatever the camera is sending, so both the video feed and that audio that you capture with your DJI mic, and passing along your streaming software. In that case, the audio quality should be absolutely fine. The ATEM is basically just passing through whatever the camera is capturing, so as long as your camera's audio input is good, and the DJI mic is known for pretty solid audio, then you should be all set. So in other words, yes, the ATEM will just handle that audio feed along with the video feed from the camera, and as long as everything's set up properly on the camera side, you'll have good audio coming through without needing extra audio gear.
Okay. I feel a little bit more knowledgeable now then. Another option that I use is to get your small zoom f3. Oh, I've heard that. Oh, thank you for reminding me. That was another thing I need to Google. The zoom f3. Oh, how could I forget this one? Thank you. You said get your small zoom f3 hooked up and align out to your camera. Then when you're on the road, you still have a great external recorder for nature audio. King says thanks for the info. Yeah, thank you, Mindful. Yeah, because at least in my ChatGPT research, this Zoom F3 came up a bunch of times. I need to do research on this. The small and mighty field recorder. Because the reason it came up was I think they were saying you can hook up the Zoom F3 to the ATEM or whatever. And let's see. Small design, big sound, 32-bit float. Small allows for this recorder to be placed anywhere as you capture and monitor up to blah blah blah. Okay, let's watch the video. Yes! Get some fun visuals here. Let's pause.
Hi, this is Samuel from Zoom, and I'm here to introduce you to the Zoom F3 field recorder. The F3 is a small, rugged, 2-input recorder with the latest recording technology built in. The F3 records 32-bit float files. This means that the F3 does not have any gain adjustments that need to be made before recording. It's impossible to clip, and it will always record all of your audio at the best possible quality. This means as long as you turn it on, plug in your mics, and hit record, you'll have usable audio on your SD card. To plug in your mics at the best possible quality. This means as long as you turn it on, plug in your mics, and hit record, you'll have usable...
Okay. Okay, hold on. King says, I thought you were picking sound devices 833. What is 833? I thought you were picking sound devices 833. Morton Hilmer uses a Zoom F3 XLR inputs to capture left and right audio when he's capturing nature audio. I've heard, again, I swear I'm going to make this my tagline, but I know nothing about nothing. Who is Morton Hilmer? I swear I've heard that name before, though. Morton Hilmer is a big-ass content creator, photographer, Danish. Okay. Okay, so my understanding now is that the Zoom F3, basically you would hook in, let's say in my case, I can hook up my RE20 into the Zoom F3, put it in like mono mode, but then it would allow me to, whenever I'm speaking, this turns into a 32-bit float audio. Actually, I have no idea what, does this have like a native bit to it? I have no idea.
Audio on your SD card. To learn more about 32-bit float recording, check out our full video on the subject. The waveform display allows you to see the waveform as it's written, giving you a more complete picture of what you're recording. The magnify adjustment will not only make these waveforms easier to see if they're too low, but it will also raise the volume of the recorded file that you'll import into your computer. But no matter where this magnifier is set before you record, you'll be able to raise or lower the volume of your audio as much as you need to on your computer, something that just isn't possible with 24-bit audio. All of this recording power is built into a small recorder that can be brought anywhere and placed anywhere. Between the quarter 20 standard tripod thread and the metal mounting bars, you have flexibility on how you use the F3. Mount it to a boom pole, on a camera cage, on your wrist, or anywhere else you could think. The F3 uses the same preamps and dual AD converters as the Zoom F6, continuing Zoom's record of incredible sounds. A headphone output allows you to monitor your recordings, and a line output can send your audio to a camera or other gear. There's even an output limiter and delay available. The F3 records up to 192 kHz sample rates to SD cards up to 1 TB. You can also enter audio interface mode to record directly to your Mac or Windows computer, and even directly to an iPad or iPhone at up to 24-bit and 96K. You can use the F3 for high-quality audio on live streams as well. The F3 can be powered by 2 alkaline AA batteries. You can extend that battery life by using lithium AA batteries or rechargeable nickel metal hydride AA batteries. You can also power it through the USB port from a USB battery or a wall outlet. If you need to walk away from the F3, you can maintain control with the F3 Control app. This allows you to visually monitor your waveforms and remotely trigger recordings. To learn more about the F3, check out the other videos.
Okay. Mindful says, since the F3 came out, the new Tascam FR AV2 has replaced the F3 as the best portable device. Tascam FR AV2. Tascam. Compact 32-bit float field recorder and timecode generator with mixer. It's a compact and comprehensive audio recorder solution for videographers, combining enhanced 32-bit float with built-in timecode. Okay. Okay, this is a question for ChatGPT again. Can you help me break down 2 products and the potential use cases of them? So there is the Zoom F3 and the new Tascam FR AV2.
It looks like I didn't find any info in the project files on those recorders, but no worries. I can still break it down for you.
Hold on one second. I didn't want you to look in the project files. I meant if you can research online.
Sure thing. So here's the quick rundown. The Zoom F3 and the Tascam FR AV2 are both compact field recorders that give you really high quality audio. The Zoom F3 is known for its dual 32-bit float recording, which basically means you get a lot of flexibility and you don't have to worry about audio clipping. It's got a couple of XLR TRS inputs and it's really user friendly. On the other hand, the Tascam FR AV2 also does 32-bit float recording and has dual AD converters for high-res audio. It's got the XLR TRS inputs as well, plus it supports timecode sync if you need that for video work. In short, both are great for field recording, interviews, and video production. The choice really comes down to which features you prefer, like if you need timecode support or just a really simple, straightforward recorder.
Okay, but let's say if I have a Nikon ZR, which already records at 32-bit float, and technically I can slap on the ME-D10 shotgun mic, which also, you know, incorporates that 32-bit float. Is there any need at all then for these field recorders, or technically should my camera serve enough of a purpose there?
Yeah, that's a great question. So if you've got your Nikon ZR already doing 32-bit float recording and you're using something like the ME-D10 shotgun mic, that also gives you that high quality audio directly into the camera, you might not really need an external field recorder for a lot of scenarios. A main reason people use something like a Zoom F3 or a Tascam field recorder is if they want a dedicated separate audio recording system. Maybe they want extra redundancy, or they want to place the recorder in a different location, or they just want a bit more flexibility in terms of controlling the audio separately from the camera. But if your camera is already handling the audio well and you're happy with the quality and you're getting that 32-bit float safety net directly in camera, then yeah, you might not need a separate field recorder. It really just depends on whether you want that extra layer of audio control or redundancy, but for a lot of situations, the camera might just do the job perfectly fine on its own.
Okay, yeah, I think that's one difference, is that I can technically just use if I have like my ZR with me and it's already capturing 32-bit float, I should be happy, right? Happy with my Mix Pre 3 Mark II. Speaking of Tascam, has anyone tried the new Tascam XLR device for ZR? What? I'm so confused. The headline here says the new something attached to a Nikon ZR DSLR camera. Tascam adds a microphone adapter for Nikon ZR. Interesting. Mindful says the main advantage of the Tascam is that you can interface with your phone to get dual recording via Bluetooth. But the screen is nicer on the Tascam. All 32-bit float. Man, these things look so complicated. Holy shit. Huh. But I guess maybe I'm a bit confused now, because like, this feels a bit unnecessary to me. If you've got a camera that's already natively capturing 32-bit float, and if I use a shotgun mic that is also capturing 32-bit float, and if I'm using wireless mics that are also capturing 32-bit float, then what is the need for me to have this device that converts them into 32-bit float? Or like, what is the value add of this? Yeah. Okay, I think. Oh yeah, here we go. This guy right here. I'm hoping I can get one of these guys soon. I don't have any projects coming up, so I didn't need it just now. But this thing was amazing. I loved it. I included it in my review video as a nice little kind of bonus feature. But I thought this shotgun mic did an excellent job. Yeah, I guess I'm a bit confused now. It's like, what's the point of this guy? Yeah. Little do I know. I would never buy a Tascam, but it's the only choice for XLR on the ZR at the moment. Oh, I see. Sorry. So this would allow you to then take your camera, plug it in with an XLR to like whatever source. I have used the Tascam, but I prefer to use my audio interface separately from the camera. The recorder is nice because you will capture B-roll audio in nature and not have to record video. Fair enough. Oh yeah, that's a good point. You can just keep it rolling. But then that's where I'm like, yo, I can just use my DJI mics, or even I can just use. Sometimes like the simplest solutions can be the best. Although, yeah, something like the Hollyland. I'm a fan. I'm a fan of these Hollyland. Hollyland as a company, as a brand. But the reason I like them a lot is their freaking form factor is tiny. And it's magnetic. So have done a few interviews where I use the Hollylands as like backup audio, and I just like hid it behind like a cup or under something, or attached to the magnetic steel table or whatever the hell. And the quality is pretty good. And then if it's windy, I guess I can just they have a little wind muff for it. You get an external Zoom F3 or Tascam because of XLR audio interface. Thank you. Yeah, I didn't connect the dots in my head, so I was just scrambling around here. Why is the website not? There we go. What is this? A webcam. Okay. Yeah, so I've used their Hollyland. I have Hollyland with me. And there's like a new product, which I was like kind of interested in trying out. Maybe I gotta see, can I get Hollyland to give me a pair of these for free for a review video? Pretty please. But yeah, the form factor is beautiful. Can I go to the product? Is that mic a Neumann U87? My mic is a Electro Voice RE20. We spent a lot of time researching before going with this guy in terms of the price range and everything. Before that, I had a Beacon mic, but it was like a USB mic, and I just kept running into issues with it. So this is the one that I have. Oh, but for some reason it keeps like being slow. Yeah, these guys, this is so crazy. It's literally the size of a button, and it's magnetic. So you just like slap it somewhere. It's 24-bit, which is like pretty reasonable. And then, yeah, the battery life was pretty long. Let me see. What does it say? 40 hours battery life. So to me, this one would be a good choice as well for like just capturing. Oh no, the one problem with this guy is that you need to have something recording. So you can hook it up to your phone, and then just hit the sound, like audio recording, and then technically it'll be running. But obviously you need your phone to be recording it, so it won't just do it offline. But again, for that form factor, I thought that was fantastic. The other option then would be like, yeah, even like the DJI mics that I have, because these ones you can do the whole recording offline mode in 32-bit. So yeah, anyways, we got a lot of choices here. Thank you guys. I've learned so much, and I'm still no closer to a decision yet, but now I am realizing that perhaps I should look at getting either the ATEM or the Rode, such that I can retire my cam links, or repurpose them for other things, I guess. But if I sell my cam links, I should be able to afford one of these guys off the rip.
You don't have built-in display, which also then includes a whole operating system and everything. The Rodecaster Video has to be connected to at least an external display to kind of see everything that it's doing. If not, a computer, so that you can go into the Rode app and then build everything there. It's possible, but not very enjoyable to just do everything from this if it's not connected to something. So you do need those extra connectivity things, which is why I don't think it should be the same price as the YOLObox Extreme. You also don't have as many inputs. This is just a more fully featured device, which is why it's more expensive. So all that to say, going back to the Rodecaster Video S, I think it is awesome, and I kind of can't believe they put it out for the price that they did, because it is unreal, not just for the video capabilities, but then you fold in the audio capabilities.
Quick question. Can you create a middle gray natively inside DaVinci? Create middle gray in DaVinci. How to pin middle gray in custom curves. Set your contrast pivot accurately. I need one without. Oh, see, everything requires this DCTL. So, like, you know what? So for this version, we won't need the. Because I'm creating two versions of this power grade. One without any DCTL third-party plugin stuff, and then one power grade that has all the space for it. So, in which case, we don't need this guy. And I should be able to now export this out. Maybe I should use a different thumbnail so I can distinguish. Or you know what? We'll put it in here. And then let's use a different thumbnail. Okay, we'll use this guy. So this will become... Dun, 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 dun. Change label, let me copy. Change label. What is today? 15th, November 15. Let's remove that. Okay, so this is the version without DCTL. And then we have our version with DCTL. And I think that means I can retire. Well, I guess I need to update the other two. Okay. So I need an NRAW version, and then this one I should be able to delete now. So let's go ahead and delete. Let's see. Okay, yeah, we're good. All right, so we got this one done. Now this means we can go back. Let's go to our dehancer video. Basically, what I want to do is I want to start generating some LUTs using dehancer. Dehancer has like a LUT exporter, so I figure I need to test it out. I have no idea how to use it, so we're going to do a bit of research. Let's look it up first. Dehancer LUT generator. Dehancer. Where can I find this? Oh, there we go. LUT generator. All right, let's do a bit of reading here. You know, as far as like these kind of software tools go, I feel like Dehancer did one of the best jobs of like taking a very complicated technical stuff and having good visualizations and ways to make sense of it. But I'm looking for the LUT. There you go. 3D LUT export. Sometimes it's convenient to export a LUT. It has two qualities, 17 and 33. But I guess what I'm confused by... Okay, here we go. LUT incorporates all the color and contrast attributes applied to the clip within Dehancer plugin. Gotcha. Which I think is perfect for my needs. Or at least with these guys, we did the entire LUT generation. So let me see. Hold on. Let's full screen this. Okay, Amber, I need your help again. This time I'm trying to export some LUTs using Dehancer's LUT generator. Now, I did all my color grading within Dehancer, and it's a single node that I've done all the corrections on. Now, all the corrections are also done within the DaVinci Wide Gamut intermediate color space. So I guess I'm getting a bit confused, and I would like you to help clarify for me. If I have a node with all the Dehancer color grading that I've done, and it's done within the DaVinci wide gamut intermediate space. Let's say if in that node within dehancer, if I now click on export LUT, what do I need to keep in mind? So for instance, in the LUT generator, there's a checkbox for if I want to disable input transform, and then it gives me a choice to choose between a small LUT size or the normal of 33 by 33 by 33, and then I can hit export LUT. Now, when I read the subtext, it says that LUT includes all currently enabled plugin settings within dehancer, except the grain, bloom, halation, and vignette effects. So help me out here. Do I need to click on this checkbox which says disable input transform, or do I leave it unchecked? And if I click export LUT, will this LUT only work for other users who are in DaVinci wide gamut intermediate space?
Absolutely. Let's break that down. So when you're exporting a LUT from dehancer and you've been grading in DaVinci wide gamut intermediate, the key thing is to remember that the LUT is essentially going to be tied to the color space you created it in unless you take steps to make it more universal. Now, about that checkbox that says disable input transform. If you check that box, you're essentially telling dehancer not to bake in any assumptions about the input color space. That can make the LUT a bit more flexible because it won't be locked into assuming everything is coming from DaVinci wide gamut intermediate. On the other hand, if you leave it unchecked, then the LUT is going to expect that the input footage is also in DaVinci wide gamut intermediate to work correctly. As for the LUT size, the 33 by 33 by 33 is a standard resolution that's usually fine for most use cases. A smaller LUT size can be a bit less precise, but it's also smaller in file size. In short, if you want this LUT to be used by others who might not be working in DaVinci wide gamut intermediate, you probably want to disable the input transform so that the LUT is more universal. If it's just for your own use or for people who will definitely be in the same color space, you can leave it as is. So just decide based on who's going to use the LUT. If you want flexibility, disable the input transform. If it's just for your own DWG workflow, you can keep it.
Okay. You don't have to say so much. Now, with what you just said, though, it sounds like if I disable the input transform, it's going to do some weird technical mumbo jumbo where technically you're saying it could work universally, but if I made all of my color grading choices based on being in DaVinci wide gamut intermediate, it doesn't just magically mean that this LUT that I generate with the input transform disabled, if someone were to be working in a different color space, like Rec 709, if they load in that LUT that I generated, I just don't understand how it would all of a sudden look cleanly when all the decision making in terms of how I scaled different features were done within DaVinci wide gamut. So help me understand the discrepancy there.
Yeah, absolutely. And you're right to point that out. So just to simplify it, when you disable the input transform, what you're doing is basically removing any built-in assumptions about what color space you started from. But that doesn't mean that the LUT will magically look identical in every color space. It just makes the LUT more of a generic look that can be applied anywhere, but you still have to do some color management on the user's end. In other words, if you created all your grading decisions in DaVinci wide gamut intermediate, that's the environment where the LUT naturally fits best. If someone else applies it in a different color space, like Rec 709, they might have to do their own color space transform before or after applying the LUT to get the look you intended. So it's not that it becomes universal in a plug-and-play way, it just becomes more of a general look that can be adapted, but it may need a little extra color management. So you're absolutely...
Oh, okay. I mean, I'm hearing what she's saying. I see what you're putting down, but I'm not necessarily accepting it just yet. Let's see what this other AI might say. Also, if there's if they have like an FAQ on this. LUT generator. Here we go. Wow, I can't believe I'm doing all this research. Dehancer LUT incorporates the color and contrast within plugin. Yep. It's technically impossible since the plugin doesn't even know what's going on outside. Simplest approach is to use only the correction tools available in the plugin. In this case, the LUT generated with dehancer contains all color contrast characteristic of the look. Otherwise, you have to structurally divide your grading into several parts that can be technically exported as a LUT one by one. Okay. Um, Disable input transform. This option excludes the effective input settings from a generated LUT, thus allowing for using this LUT universally with any source and color signs. Notice that an exported LUT doesn't include the effects based on. Okay. I don't know. I guess I'm getting a bit confused because they're making it sound like no big deal. It's like, hey, if you just click on this disable, now your LUT can work on any color space transform. But then, like, how? I don't understand how that's feasible. You know what? We can test this ourselves. What am I doing here? I can create 2 LUTs, one disabled, one without, and then we'll create a sample version, see what the difference is. Boom. Problem solved. All right, here we go. All right, so where do I save my LUTs? Can I save my LUTs anywhere within my macOS?
Yes, absolutely. You can save your LUTs anywhere convenient on your Mac. Usually a good place is to create a dedicated LUTs folder in your documents or in your movies folder so you know where to find them. If you're using DaVinci Resolve, you can also save them directly into the LUTs folder that DaVinci uses, which is usually in the library, application support, Blackmagic Design, DaVinci Resolve, LUT folder path. But really, you can save them anywhere that makes sense to you and is easy to access. Then you can load them into whatever software you need.
Okay, bear with me because I'm trying to remember where I saved my my previous LUTs. My power grades. There it is. Okay. What should we call this? YP dehancer DW DaVinci wide gamut DW. What is the short form for DaVinci wide gamut? Short form for DaVinci wide gamut intermediate color space. Okay, DWG. DWG. We'll call this King Kong. Okay. So we just save this one, and then let me save a version 2. Disable input transform. Export. I have to go through this again. Oops. I need a shortcut for this. Oh, I already have a shortcut. Jesus, I didn't realize. Okay. I'll put this in dehancer LUTs. YP, dehancer, DWG. Excuse me. I guess this one won't be DWG, so we'll just call it Universal King Kong. All right. Okay, so then What am I supposed to do here? Let's create a new version. In this new version, let's go ahead and replace everything. Apply grade. Why does this one look so off? What did I just do? What? I'm so confused. Oh, I'm an idiot. Hold on. This was not DaVinci. My bad. This is supposed to be the other one, which I haven't technically updated just yet. But okay, we'll just use this for now. Zoom F3 with the MK416 with the winking face. What is that winking face for? But okay, Swiss, I guess maybe I got super excited because like, oh, maybe I need the Zoom F3. It's your go-to for quality field audio. But okay, can you explain how it works? If I have a Zoom F3, actually, I don't know what the second part of what you said is. MK, whoops. Hold on.
Come here, come a little close. Don't be afraid, no, I don't wanna hurt you. Little more, come near, let me just show.
Okay. MK416. What? Oh, okay, okay. It looks like Google thought you meant something else called the HK416. I was like, what are you talking? Is this why you get the 32-bit float so you can shoot a machine gun next to it and get crisp audio still? Okay, so it's a Sennheiser. Float, lol. Zoom F3 is tiny 32-bit float. You can't go wrong with the MK416. Oh, this guy. I think I've heard of this one. But okay, so my question to you on this one is the Zoom F3 essentially like you can just like record from there and it's always on? So like for instance, when we were talking earlier, if I have like the Hollyland mics, which are these super tiny wireless, you just magnetize it, put it on a vehicle, whatever. If I just have it, I can't just have it recording because I need to have a recording source, right? Like I need my phone or something, whatever it's hooked up to be recording. Is the Zoom F3, is it the thing that you basically say start recording and then it'll just, until the battery runs out, it'll just record constantly? And if that is true, I guess you want this for like nature ambient stuff. Okay. I'm just trying to think of different solutions because it's like if I have the DJI mic too, that's good for my voice and it can record, you know, just continuously without a camera. But then this one, if it can record continuously, it's for like the ambient nature sounds, let's say. So this one hooks up to the Zoom F3 and the Zoom F3 becomes the remote control essentially to start recording. Short shotgun interference tube. I need like a laundry list. Man, Black Friday shopping, right? Dun, dun, dun. Mindful says the way you can always cut in B-roll if you happen to get a great clip and do not have your camera ready. Yeah, that's the circumstance I'm trying to be mindful of. Is like, sure, once I'm recording with the ZR, for instance, we'll get that crisp 32-bit float. But then when you're not recording, how the hell do you get that sound? So my thought process was like, oh, that's where I can just use a DJI mic too and just hook it up to myself. But then obviously that's going to be more catered towards like capturing yourself or like you know, sound near, like, you know, my voice or whatever else. Versus if I have something... Thing is, I'm just trying to think of portable solutions, right? Because that shotgun mic seems a little bit big, or I would need to, like... Yeah, I don't know how to carry it around on my person. Swiss says the DJI and other mics are omnidirectional. A shotgun is highly directional. Yeah. Yeah, so I can see the purpose of it if I hook it up to, let's say, my wildlife camera. So let's say I have my Z9 and I got the 400 lens attached. And if I have something like that, so then when I'm not hitting the record button, because obviously file size is massive, whatever else, or even I guess technically if I'm in photo mode, I could still be recording audio. But then my question is like, okay, let's say you hook up the shotgun mic to the Z9, and then the shotgun mic is connected to the Zoom F3, such that the Zoom F3 is always recording, and then it's like they live separately, I guess. It's not a bad idea. It's nice to just place an external recorder somewhere and just let it go. You have tons of footage to use. Yeah. Mix 3 pre is too much for him. Oh, I missed the I missed the very important message you sent right before that. If you want to isolate just the individual sound of, say, a gorilla farting, Mix 3 pre is too much for him. Gotcha. Yeah, it's funny. Here we are talking about like, oh, don't you want that 1000 frames per second camera so you can capture every motion? And the other people are like, oh, don't you want that whatever version of that in audio so you can hear every puff of wind of that fart dispelling into the air? Different tools for different jobs. I'm sure everyone buys an F3 to capture farting gorillas. You know what? What if I get an F3? Would that allow me to put it right up to my cat's bed and then do like ASMR of, you know, her snoring or whatever, or purring, I guess? Just walk over to the gorilla and mic up the silverback. Yo, that would be so funny. We can finally find out if it farts silver. We're trying to catapult Yabal to professional level. By the way, thank you guys. I swear to Christ, I feel like I'm learning so much in just a number of days that I'm sure people have to spend, you know, years in school to kind of understand. Hire an audio dude. Yeah, that probably makes the most sense. But look, we're talking about a budget of $1, which is like $1 in my bank account. I use the 416 for interviews and maybe some random nature sounds. Normally love my Rode GoPros. Oh yeah, Rode seems to be the one that was like the best quality. So, but I mean, my DJI mics do a good job. So for now, there's no reason per se. The issue with hiring an audio dude when traveling light is where to put him in your luggage. Yeah, true. I'll just have my cat be the audio. Cat purring on the stream. You should mix that into the stream at random points. Yeah, you know, I would do it occasionally. Or sometimes Nala would come over. So then I would pick her up. And then I'd switch over to this camera. And then put her next to the mic. And you can hear the... I feel like you can hear the purring pretty nicely. But, yeah, if I have a secondary audio... Like, if I have a secondary mic... If I have a little stand... Get, like, a shotgun mic... Just pointing straight in that direction... I think that could be a... Listen, like I said, my goal is to be as overkill as possible within whatever budget that's reasonable. But if I can get some shotgun mics or whatever and just hook it up, and maybe this is where I need that Rodecaster or the A10 Mini or whatever so I can not overload my Mac Studio here. But if I can do whatever so that I can just pump in a bunch of different audio mics, get my Kimpa purring whenever he's in, you know, this empty place. Nala over there. Yeah, let's do it. Let's do it. MKH416 is a no-brainer. Everyone should have one. Okay. But King, the MKH41, Jesus Christ, what a shitty name, I will say. Does that but the MKH416, it's like any other microphone where you need to have the camera recording, right? It's not like recording on its own. Like my assumption was that this thing, you need to hook it up to the camera, and then whenever you're recording on the camera, then it's recording the audio. It's not like a, what's the word I'm looking for? Like standalone mic?
Sennheiser is...
Yo, I like this guy's setup. I hear it on my Atomos when you do that. Ooh, okay. Thousands of dollars of bad purchases, yeah. Major benefit of the Tascam is that the connectors are both XLR and a 1/4 inch jacks. Zoom F3 is only XLR. Okay. It would totally be worth it for the cat cam. Yeah. Listen, we'll figure this out. Technically, I guess I could hook up a microphone to my Z9 itself, and I'm assuming both should be captured somehow through the cam link, or at least if I switch over to the ATEM or the Rodecaster. Yeah, the F3 and selling it for the FR-AV2. Okay, so now there's two options here. Mindful is mentioning... Okay, there are three options here. It sounds like the Zoom F3... Wait, is it called the Zoom F3, or am I just making up that first word? It's a Zoom F3, right? So it sounds like Zoom F3 is the gold standard, or it's the one that everyone knows about. However, it sounds like there's a few contenders. So Mindful is saying one of the contenders is the Tascam FR-AV2. And then... oh wait, no. Maybe that's the only one. I thought there was another option someone was saying. Oh no, I was thinking about the shotgun mic. But I guess the shotgun needs to be plugged into the F3. It's standalone with a separate external recorder. Oh wow, okay. Well, that's even better. Then why do you need the Zoom F3? God, I'm such an idiot. Tascam FR-AV2. Wait, are you okay? Did I hear you correctly? You're saying that this MKH416 is a standalone recorder? Tascam will give you direct sound to ZR. Otherwise, plug and play is the ME-D10. Yeah, I mean, also somewhat from a tactical standpoint. Well, okay, two things. One, I actually did enjoy using the ME-D10. It was super compact, especially with that digital shoe mount now. You just slot it in, boom, it's working perfectly. But then also, I would obviously like to use as much Nikon gear to, support Nikon and hopefully get more opportunities. But then, for me, it's more just like, can I have something that captures audio when I'm not recording, as we've been talking in the chat, right? It's like, and so if one of these shotgun mics it can actually record on device for a long time, that's great. Tascam is newer, has some more capabilities. King is suggesting sound devices 833. Portable compact mixer recorder. You can't get sound devices easily here. Okay, so it's like a good quality brand. Comparing a standalone XLR microphone with a camera hot shoe mic is a bad comparison. Hey, listen, this is why you guys come to the stream, all right? To hear my amazing takes and comparisons or whatever. You're talking to a guy, I could have McDonald's every day if it wouldn't kill me, okay? Fish fillet all the way. They do make those, but suffer some issues. MKH416 is just gold standard AV gear for shotties. Okay. Comica is the recorder shotty all in one. Comica. Oh no. I'm doing exactly what I did yesterday. I'm having like a bunch of recorder shotgun. Okay, let's just watch this video real
is a
quick.
name that is reinforced by a professional reputation for not only quality, but consistency. And as one of their crown jewels, this, the 416,
Oh my God, that
is
was loud.
turning 50. Let's take a look at not only how this company
Wait, this microphone is turning 50, or what did I miss there? Hold on.
16 is see. And as one of their crown jewels, this, the 416, is turning 50. Let's take a look at not only how this company emerged as a leader in the audio industry, but also how this microphone became the go-to for not only media production, but for voiceover as well. But to get there, we need to start from the beginning. With that in mind, would you believe me if I told you that this all began in a quaint farmhouse in Hanover?
I'm Woody Boyd from Hanover, Indiana. That's the placemat capital of the world.
No, not that Hanover. This Hanover is in Germany.
Comica is the all-in-one one I gotta look into.
In 1945, which just rolls off the tongue, doesn't it? Now, the main purpose of this company was making...
You know what? I think I watched this guy's content when I was trying to figure out which microphone to get. So I think he did a review of the RE20 versus the Shure SM7B, I think.
...measuring equipment to sell to Siemens.
Okay, I don't need the history though.
Microphones. Nicer. And 2 years later, we're introduced to a legend.
Okay, as much as I appreciate this guy, I just wanted to know, I guess, just break it down for me.
Excellence is important when you're an industry standard, and that consistency also reflects in the price of these legends. And Sennheiser isn't alone in this. These legendary mics rarely ever go on sale once they've reached that god tier status.
MED10 will help stay small. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I'm super. I think the MED10. Look, I field tested it, I guess, for like just a few days, but I thought it was fantastic. Got all the quality audio I needed from it, and all of it was also without the wind muff. So, I think that's just like an obvious for me in terms of what do I want in addition to my ZR. It's just more, can I have some, like, to the conversation we've been having around like how do you capture nature, audio, like ambient sounds just throughout. So yeah, obviously once I hit record, it's grabbing the audio at the same time. What about those in-between moments? So my thought process was like, I think the simplest solution could be using like the Hollyland mics, the wireless magnetic ones, or I just put a DJI mic just on my person and then just have it recording nonstop. And as long as I'm not making any noise myself, it should be capturing other sounds. So, but then there still will be some conflicts with maybe my body, you know, breathing or like grabbing things or just whatever, talking. So it might not necessarily be as clean as if I had a shotgun mic or just having a mic not really pointed towards my face, right? So then that's like the question, like how do you get that third level of potential audio? But I don't know. It's a little bit, I'm kind of going too deep into something where it's like a lot of hypotheticals. So you have the 416 used for a lot of stuff and many other mics too, but I'm getting the D10 for traveling light with only that 110 bustling back. Oh, by the way, if you guys want to get that, wait, I don't even know. Let me just put in my plug. ! Gear. If you go to my website, which I honestly don't know myself, does it take you? Did I put that in there? Hold on. Gear. We will be better at promoting myself someday. Oh, damn. Okay, wait, no. Did I put it somewhere else maybe? For some reason, I thought in my head. I did. Okay, here you go. If you would like to order that MED10 shotgun mic, feel free to click on the link on my website, which takes you to where? Does it even work? Yes, it works. It takes you to bhphotovideo.com. And feel free to just go ahead and click on that add to cart button. If they have an area where you can put some notes, say Yobel price, convince me, and then go ahead and ship it to wherever you are. There you go. There's my plug. But yeah, the MED10 is fantastic. Although, you know what? I'm looking at this list of things. So I do use these. But now after we had the conversation yesterday, I'm realizing again that I'm in the little leagues. And you guys had... I've already forgotten all the brands. There's something called Bright Tangerine, I think. And that one I only remember because of the name. But yeah, I need to upgrade my gear. And then yeah, I do have this Rode Video Mic NTG, but like realistically, I probably only need this guy going forward. Although I guess I can hook this one up to my Z9. Yeah, so I could still use this on the Z9. And then this one would work on the ZR, given it's the digital shoe mount. Okay. Oh my god, so much more research to do on buying stuff. Recording in 32, there's a lot you can do in post. Yeah. Man, it's fantastic. You know what? Someone told me, actually, maybe you guys can tell me if it's incorrect. Someone I met when I was at that Nikon event for the launch at the theater, they were telling me that actually when you shoot in 32-bit float, it actually you can rescue your audio from like wind noise as well. My understanding was that it doesn't, but they were adamant in saying like, oh no, with the 32-bit float, you can actually, you don't have to worry about the wind, if there's like wind sound or whatever that you pick up. So I that's what they said. I didn't challenge them on it, but yeah. In one of those Nikon ZR promo videos, the Norwegian guy brought his buddy who does audio for films and series here to try out the ZR with and without the MED10. Oh, okay. The Norwegian guy. I gotta look this guy up. Compared to the Zoom F3, it is much better. You were saying that to King. Yeah. Oh, about the Tascam. Fed, when you get your ZR, can you please record your recipe for Norwegian? Oh man, you know, I was this close to ordering spaghetti and meatballs the other day after you guys were talking about Norwegian meatballs for so long. They didn't have Norwegian meatballs, but just rep for Condor Blue. There's the right tool for each job. Field recorders would be better, but it's more gear to haul around. Staying small is great if you're a solo. Exactly. Yeah, I agree. You'll want to put petite dead cats on the mics on the ZR if recording, only with those in wind. Yeah, like, I mean, the MED10 comes with a nice little wind muff dead cat, which should do the job. Makes for much easier post. Yeah. I'm working on building out an ultra light interview lighting kit for Uganda. Should be pretty cool. We'll send a pic on Discord if it works. Ooh, that sounds interesting. An interview lighting kit. Okay, what would you... So I used a bunch of Zhiyun lights. I like them quite a bit. It seems like a lot of pros... Some pros use Zhiyun, but it seems like there's like that... Aputure is one of the big brands. Yeah. I've got like the 85 centimeter. Is it 85 centimeter softbox, I think? Oh, you know, one of the coolest things, and I did show it earlier, the one I ended up using for my upcoming dehancer review. I finally got to use that Smoke Ninja, and that Smoke Ninja is definitely a cool feature. But I wasn't able to use it in my documentary film because it was way too windy in the place that I ended up interviewing. So the moment you turn on the smoke machine, it would just all disappear. The Mix Pre 3 would be the top end audio recorder, and it's still fairly small. Mix Pre 3. Mix Pre 3. Doo-doo. You know, everything is always about 32-bit float. Is there something beyond that? Is there microphones that capture beyond 32-bit float?
Well, not really
in the sense of microphones themselves. So microphones don't directly record in 32-bit float or any bit depth. They just capture the analog sound. It's the recorder or the interface that does the conversion into a digital signal and decides the bit depth. So when we talk about 32-bit float, that's really a feature of the recorder or the audio interface, not the microphone itself. In other words, as long as you have a good microphone feeding into a recorder that supports 32-bit float, you're getting that benefit of super high dynamic range and not having to worry about clipping. But the microphone itself is just capturing sound and passing it along. So there's nothing.
Hey, just quickly switching gears here. I have my LUT as a file somewhere on my computer. How do I load it into dehancer again?
Loading your LUT into dehancer is pretty straightforward. Basically, you'll open up dehancer in DaVinci Resolve or whatever host you're using, and inside the dehancer interface, there's an option to load a custom LUT. You'll just navigate to where you saved your LUT file on your Mac and select it. Once you do that, dehancer will apply that LUT on top of whatever other
Hold
setting.
on, sorry, I think I might have misspoke. I have my LUT that I just generated using dehancer. So I exported a LUT using dehancer's feature. Now I'm trying to load it into DaVinci is what I meant to say. So can you remind me how exactly do I have the file show up in DaVinci?
Ah, got it. No worries at all. So to load your LUT into DaVinci Resolve, what you'll do is open up DaVinci and then go up to the DaVinci Resolve menu at the top and choose Preferences. Under the Color Management section, you'll see a spot where it says Open LUT Folder. Click that and it'll open the folder where DaVinci keeps all its LUTs. Then you just drag and drop or copy your LUT file into that folder. After that, you'll just refresh the LUTs inside DaVinci by clicking the little refresh button in the LUTs tab.
That's what it was. Man, memory's bad. Sorry guys, let's see here. In one of those Nikon, yep. Trying to keep it under 8 pounds for your rig. They try to record in mild wind and traffic noise and other ambient stuff in a city park, and it worked pretty good. Okay. I don't know. I guess my initial thought process, or maybe something I briefly read, was that there's nothing that can rescue the wind noise. Like, just because you're shooting in 32-bit float doesn't necessarily mean it just magically removes the wind sound. Like, if you end up getting wind directly against the microphone, you're shit out of luck, is kind of like the gist of what I understood. But then someone else pushed back, that's what I was saying earlier, was like, oh, no, actually, you can actually completely remove it in 32-bit float. They also recorded with the 416 to show the difference, and of course the 415. I like how you say, of course. Of course, the 415 had much better low end, but they were able to replicate that well in post with the Nikon mic footage as well. Mixed pre-3 is also $1,000 compared to the $390. Wow, okay. X100, maybe the X200 will be the light where my hand is. Okay. Oh, I see. Yeah, the X100s, the thing I'm using here is, I think this light is an X60, or the X60 I think is this one. Oh man, I don't even remember. This guy is also Zhiyun. This is the more powerful one, so I think it's the 100. 32-bit float is overrated. Preamps on my 24-bit H5 are better. Okay. 32-bit float does not stop internal noise that is recorded due to quality of preamps. Norwegian guy was in charge of making several of the official promo videos of the ZR. He traveled around to many countries to interview others testing the cameras in different ways. Yo, how come this guy didn't interview me? What the hell? Can't trust this guy then. MKH416 goes out with me. The Schops Schmidt 5 doesn't leave the studio. Man. If you're streaming, you have to also consider sync. So the new Tascam has built-in HDMI sync for audio as well. Great dual use for field audio as well as streaming. Ooh, okay, that's good to know. You have never had issues with sync though on any of your audio recorders. Excited. What's up, Kavai? Kavaitsu is in the chat. Hello, Kavaitsu. Fed said that doesn't make... Oh, you said excited TLS. I don't know what the TL or what the S stands for, but I understand excited. And how could you not be, being on this stream? That doesn't make 32-bit flow overrated. It makes the preamps of the F3 overrated. Excited to see a Yobel IRL outside stream in the future? Yes, thank you. Listen, all of these conversations that we're having right now, which I'm sure to most people must be like beyond boring or like, what the hell? I swear it's for a reason, right? I am trying my best to quickly learn as much about the different gear, technologies, why they're there, and try to figure out what's the best way to take this out into the world with me, and in different, I guess, tiers, right? So that we get the most basic ass, which would be like, hey, I can go live stream with my phone in the hotel lobby. So here you go, you know. But then as we kind of go into higher and higher levels, I would just want to understand what's the ceiling, right? What is the ceiling where if money is not an issue, what kind of a setup would allow you to basically have the best, coolest, whatever, live stream possible in my line of work or my line of traveling? And then also scaling down what is like reasonable, more reasonable beyond. So yeah, all of this is for a purpose. I do hope that as I kind of retain a bit of the knowledge from all of this, yeah, I can take it out into the world. Yo, I would love to show you guys my life when I travel. It's not the most exciting, it's not the most fun. It's intense, but it's so much fun when you can travel, especially for wildlife traveling, you know, captures. But although I guess technically Swiss Army Cinema is doing that already. So Swiss is going to be in Uganda very soon to track some track some Ugandas, track some gorillas. Fed, you need to be the new or better Norwegian YouTuber I would watch. Yes, we would all watch. This guy's an Eastern Norwegian. They are not built the same. Damn, you guys have like internal racism? So is Sound Devices 833 is out of the running. Oh, all of this is in the running, but I'm kind of losing track. I'm gonna lose my mind. You guys are giving so many interesting options. Didn't I look this up? I think it's, I already have a tab open for this somewhere. Christ. Or Swedes, maybe they're closer to Sweden than they are to us. Swiss is packing the gear right now. See, that would be a fun live stream. I will definitely do that as a live stream in the future. I'll use one. Maybe I'll use my 400mm lens and then just set it up on my desk and then just point it all the way out to my bedroom or wherever, where you can see me packing up everything. A packing stream. We have internal bigotry even between neighboring towns and even between different parts in the city. Well, damn. Hard to park for a whole docu shoot and then a wildlife shoot as well. Yeah, wildlife shoot is like, man. I had a whole list. You know what? Yo, Swiss Army. This won't necessarily help you too much. But I did make a video, Yobel Prize Uganda Guide, where I kind of break down the things that I pack in terms of like clothing or whatever else. Here, let me plug myself as much as possible. Can I paste this in? I can't paste it in this thing. There we go. It's all in good fun. I will learn from those brodies. Similar to how the Scandinavian countries love to make fun of stereotypes of different countries. Listen, obviously I'm joking. We all internally racist ourselves, if that's a way to say it. Let's check out this packing list here. Oh, yeah, I do. Swiss Army, although in your case, I'm assuming you won't be taking one of these domestic flights. It sounds like you'll probably end up driving with all the gear that you guys have. If you end up taking one of these intra flights, usually, I don't know how strict they are with the rules, but generally speaking, they say that you need to have a soft bag, like a soft case. So that's actually why I ended up purchasing this this check-in bag way back when, was because it was a soft bag. So they weren't allowing it otherwise. Starting with the essentials, most of which fit in my Samsonite EcoDiver check-in bag. You can find all my gear linked in the description below. I opt for a soft case when flying within Uganda, since they use smaller charter planes that have a 15 kg soft bag limit within Uganda. Because like if you look in the inside, basically this is where they shove in some of the bags, and then there's like an under compartment where they shove other stuff. But basically they're just like, yeah, for limited capacity. 15 kg soft bag limit. I pack activewear shirts and trekking pants. So I got the activewear shirts, all these like Colombian pants. They worked out nicely. I pack my undergarments, of course. Of course. Waterproof socks for the trek. Oh yeah, so that's one thing. Swiss Army, you should definitely get some waterproof socks. They are a godsend when I took my honeymoon client out there, I made sure to buy extras for them, and it can be very useful. And leg gaiters, leg gaiters for sure. It's almost a necessity. Some people, the locals, always use rubber boots, and I did have one client who traveled with me, and he packed his own rubber boots, not for Uganda, it was for Colombia, I think it was. But yeah, rubber boots could work as well if you can somehow pack those in. Otherwise, get these leg gaiters. You said that totally helped. Thanks for making that video. Absolutely. It's not like fully comprehensive, but this is how I traveled, so I figured there's some knowledge here that's useful. How dare you? How dare you when there's climate change going on in the world, says Greta Thunberg. I'm going to car mount an Osmo 3 on the vehicle. Do you think it's worth packing the tilt to stabilizer rig for that? Interesting. I have my Osmo Pocket here. I never even considered... okay, so I sometimes put the Osmo Pocket on my backpack, so I got one of those straps to attach it. That's how I filmed a bit of my jungle treks. So that just became a little action camera. So I had that, and then I also used one of the small rigs to attach a GoPro to my camera itself, pointing like a selfie mode. So that's how I got some footage of me as I'm out about shooting as well. And then also I had the Insta360, which I attached to the camera to, yeah. But I've never used the Tilta stabilizers, which are a lifesaver. Sponsored by Thorogood. Oh yeah, you mentioned that brand, Thorogood boots. Yeah, is waterproof socks for any long hikes. Yeah, the waterproof, they worked out well for my hikes, for all the treks that I did in Uganda. So some of the times I ended up doing like a 4-hour hike, and the socks were fine. You don't like overheat in them or anything. And yeah. Against mud, sharp branches, and forest ants during the jungle treks. Also bring a pair of gloves if you're doing... Gloves are really useful, almost like required in some ways, because one, you might be using a walking stick. For the gorilla treks, for sure, you might want the walking sticks. And then you'll usually end up hiring porters to help you out with all your gear. So make sure to tip your porters. I think it's $10 is mandatory, but then you should tip on top. But the gloves are just useful because you'll be like going through machete areas. Right? Basically, you'll have someone literally hacking a path for you. So gloves are a necessity. Yeah, Swiss, you mentioned that they're providing you with boots, socks, pants, and raincoat. Nice. Yobel, are Nike boots great for hiking and staying dry? Yeah. I would say no. I don't know my shoe brands, though. The treks, it'll protect your hands. Definitely bring a rain jacket. My brother and sister-in-law, they bought me a whole, like, camouflage kit. I forget the brand. It was in one of those like outdoor sporting shops in the States. But man, this thing was so good. And for sun protection, bring the hat, sunglasses, sunscreen, and arm sleeves. Arm sleeves are great, by the way, especially if you're like me and you have tattoos. But yeah, it's like generally speaking, that way you can just wear short sleeves and then put the arm sleeves on. What should you tip them? Oh man, I have a whole table that I created on tipping. Let me send it to you, Swiss Army. If you can remind me later, if I'll remind myself. Because I sent it to the honeymoon couple as well as like just a general tipping guide. Oh wait, I might have even included it in the video. Hold on a second. It might be in this video. Holy, wow, what a great video if it does have it in there. If anyone wants to check out how well the ZR does in pouring rain, check out the channel of Morten Hilmer. He is a wildlife photographer in Denmark. Oh yeah, we were just Googling him earlier. Joe Bell, is that the Starbucks bear cup in the background? I don't think so. Do I have Starbucks anywhere? I don't think so. I don't even know what you're where you're pointing at. A bear cup? I don't have a bear cup. What gear is this for? I have a packing list for dog sledding from my teacher, if you'd like. So basically, Swiss is going to Uganda to do some film, like a big film project, but it would include wildlife treks for like gorillas and chimpanzees, which are a very distinct type of packing and a different type of trekking. And so yeah. ZR is weatherproof to the max. I low-key that bro was you for like a week. Oh, you saw that video. Last one, it's great for people like me with tattoos. Neck gaiters are also a must. Neck gaiters, yes, 1000%. helpful because you'll be sweating a bit. Also, the other reason why neck gaiters are important is that normally it's a requirement that you need to be wearing face masks when you're near within certain proximity of the apes, because we share so much in common with them that we're like the zoonotical disease or whatever. Like there's transmittable diseases back and forth. So I remember we did a trip to Rwanda. I think it was right after COVID lockdowns ended. A friend of mine, and that's where we learned there was a scientist that we went on a trek with, and he'd been there for a while researching the effects of COVID on the gorillas, because apparently they can catch COVID. So I was like, damn. So yeah, you'll need either like legit face mask or they accept these guys. So if you use a neck gaiter, perfect. So it's dual purpose because obviously it helps you keep cool, wicks away the sweat, but then you need to pull this up when you're in the presence of the apes. Morton Hilmer put the ZR through solid pouring rain for a week. Damn. He's an ex-Special Forces guy and kind of famous. I think he appeared a lot on TV. Yes, who mentioned it earlier? Someone mentioned Morton Hilmer, and I was like, yo, sorry, because I don't know who he is. I think someone else mentioned him before. I knew the name. I just didn't know who he was.
It's great for hikes, and it doubles as a face mask during ape encounters. If I have space, I'll throw in a pair of normal shoes or sandals. The hiking boots I'll wear with me on the actual flight.
I had my Salomon shoots. They worked out well. But that thorough, what do you call it? The thorough something? That sounds
You can't
more...
forget bug repellents, first aid kit, and toiletries. And then with the remaining space, I'll throw in all my non-battery camera accessories, like the tripods, gimbal heads, camera straps, lens filters, and cables. For context, all this packed up comes in at around 12 kgs. Moving to my primary carry-on, the Gitzo Adventure 30-liter backpack. This bag is super durable, comfortable, and surprisingly spacious. It fits my Nikon Z9 camera with a 400mm f2.8 lens attached, along with a couple of other lenses like a 20mm f1.8 for the wide shots, and a 70-200 f2.8 or 85mm f1.2 for the distant or low light shots. I also packed my DJI Mic 2 microphones, a shotgun mic, and a couple of think tank bags stuffed with spare batteries, memory cards, chargers, and cables. Now for my Peak Design everyday sling bag. This little wonder is like Harry Potter's magical suitcase. It's way roomier than it looks. It holds my Nikon Z6 III camera with a 24-70mm lens, my 14-inch MacBook, charger and power bank, universal adapter, as well as an Osmo Pocket 3 action camera. Plus, of course, my passport and wallet. And the best part, it's usually not weighed by airline staff, so packing it with heavy essentials can save you a headache at check-in. This becomes my go-to bag that I wear when I'm going out for photo shoots. This trio of bags...
Okay, I know I put something about tipping in here somewhere, I thought. Hold on. Yeah, okay, here we go. Haha. So Swiss, here's... Now, you know, this is not factoring in inflation, right? Because it's been a while since I went last. But in terms of the tipping guide, this is what I wrote. So for hotel staff, suggested amount would be like $3 to $5 per night per guest. And usually, yeah, there's like a tip box at the lodge. For the drivers, if it's like a actual, like, you know, takes you from point A to point B, not like a taxi driver, usually it's like $20 per day, and you can just share it by the guests at a daily rate. Yep. For the main guide, so one thing that nobody seems to say. Hold on, let me read here. Morton was a member of the Serious Dog Sled Patrol and did park ranger type stuff in Greenland. Damn. Not a combat role like in the Middle East, as one would perceive. A dog sled patrol. Is that like having a horse, like a cavalry unit? Yeah, people who are like dog sled. Yo, that sounds pretty kind of badass. His Z9 had no issues at all after all that rain. Special Forces in Norway also have many different tasks like that. Interesting. Okay, so one thing I was going to say, when you do these gorilla and chimp treks, there's a lot more people involved in those treks than you might hear about online. So it's not like saying, hey, you got to make sure to tip one, you know, like just bring like $10 for tip. It's like, yo, on your gorilla trek, you'll have your main guide. Then you'll have maybe an additional ranger who's there to protect you, the guy with the rifle, let's say. And they're there to protect you against, like, usually for forest elephants more than anything else, to scare them off if you run into them. But then you also have your porter. You'll have your scouts, like these trackers. So usually it's like 2 to 3 individuals who've been there all night tracking the gorillas, and they like literally spend the night and then follow the gorillas, so that the morning trek, they're coordinating with your ranger and the guide to, you know, find out where you guys can meet somewhere in the forest. So then ultimately you end up like needing to bring money for the main guide, the ranger, and then each of the trackers, right? So you can imagine in a case like this, let's say if it's $10 for the main guide, because they're kind of like the leader, then you've got $5 for the ranger, who's the guy with the rifle who follows you around. And sometimes there's 2 of them too, so keep that in mind. So that's $15. Then let's say if there's 2 to 3 trackers, that might be another $15. So let's say about $30 that you would want for all the people involved on that trek. Plus, if you hire a porter, okay, so I wrote $20. So $20 fixed fee, and then let's say $5 tip. And again, these are just kind of baseline, whatever. It just depends on circumstances. But at the very least, you might end up spending about $60+ $65 in terms of tip. So just keep that in mind. Have that calculation in your head of like how much money, how much cash should I have on hand. And they do accept US dollars, so you don't have to convert it into the Ugandan shillings. You can just have USD. Yeah. And then some, you know what? I had one porter who was badass. I didn't even ask him to. He was just like, yo, give me your phone. And then he just started recording a lot of the behind the scenes for me. And he did an excellent job. He just captured some chimps, you know, screeching, running by, got some cool behind the scenes. So yeah, if some of them might be even more talented in sense of like if they see you with a bunch of camera gear, don't be shy to ask them if they can film a few things for you, like behind the scenes with your phone. But yeah, also they can carry a shit ton of stuff, so you'll rely on them for holding your camera gear. Z9 battery lasts forever. Hells yeah, it's like the crazy battery life. Mindful says, when I first ran into Yobel, I sort of put him in the same category as Morton because of his nature work. Yo, that's not that I know too much about this Morton guy, but he sounds like a legend, and clearly he's got a big following. So thank you for the vote of confidence. I'll do my best to follow in this guy's footsteps. But I haven't been in the military. I'm very soft compared to this guy. I guess Hilmer is kind of the Danish Lars Monsen, a Norwegian wilderness guy who's famous. After 22 years of military service, I can say with certainty that nature work is far better. It just does not pay very well or at all. Exactly. That is the pursuit that I'm on, is trying to find a way to get paid to do this kind of stuff forever. But so anyways, there's my little quick review that I made about my time in Uganda. Still, right now, I still view Uganda as my favorite country. Oh yeah, here. So let's see if I can show this real quick. My Nikon Z. So the way I was traveling on one of my recent trips, basically I had an Insta360 Go 3 clipped onto my hat, so that became like a front point of view shot. Obviously the quality is much shittier. I think it's like 1080 maybe, or 2K max, but that way I was able to get a nice like point of view kind of a look and feel, which is very exciting when you're going through a jungle.
Pro, GoPro.
And then yeah, I had a GoPro strapped to like a magnetic necklace on the front side. So then you can imagine I have one on my hat, one on the chest. Then sometimes I travel with like a freaking Insta360 selfie stick sticking out of my backpack. I had like a backpack rig, and then that basically held my Insta360 to get the crazy 360 shots. Yobel is our generation's Jacques Cousteau. I've heard that name, but man, I should know more. Lars Monsen is also known for his nature conservation work. Monsen is the G. Nice. Yeah, so you can see here I have the Insta360 connected to like this whatever backpack strap. Not the most stable, but yeah.
X4 and Go 3.
And then yeah, I had an Insta360 X4 or X3 connected to my camera here, which is how you're getting the shot that you're seeing right now. So
Sure that I never miss a shot. I usually travel with 2 cameras. My Nikon Z9 for my primary.
And then here you can see I had the Osmo Pocket 3 connected to the backpack strap. So then that was another way I can get some kind of like front-facing point of view at times. I went a little crazy with this. I had so much, man. People were just staring at me at the
wildlife shots. And my Nikon Z6 III focused on
and so then my sling bag here is
Z9 for my primary wildlife.
So usually I'm not like actually holding 2 cameras at once. Usually in my sling bag I'll put 1 camera in and then the other camera is attached to the camera strap.
Shots. And my Nikon
switch around.
Z6 III focused on capturing all my day in the life travel moments. During guerrilla treks, a 70 to 200 millimeter f2.8.
Yeah. Oh yeah, and then also, yeah, Swiss, just as an FYI, yeah, feel free if you want to watch the video. I do break down at the end of my video. I show some of the shots that I took, and I break down the different lenses and like whatever the settings. So for example, you'll see a lot of the shots will be like, you know, the 7200 f2.8 lens. So this was an example I shot where it was ISO 500 for the photo. And I had 1/160th of a second. How much longer does the Z9 battery run compared to the ZR? Do you know? That's a good question. I'm pretty sure it's like in multitude. Like it could be like a 3 to 5 times longer. I feel the Z9 batteries, it lasts all day. It's like a powerhouse. The ZR or like the ZR batteries is like the other batteries, the same. You know, what do you call the EN115 blah blah blah, and they do survive a pretty long time. But not like to the extent of these guys. Z9 batteries at least twice. Yeah, in my mind, I view it as like at least 3 times. Z9 I've gotten over 4 hours. ZR is closer to 2 hours. Okay. Saw there's a bright orange small rig version of the ZR battery. Slightly cheaper, runs for a bit longer, and you can charge it. Oh, you know what? I think I know someone who tried one of those. I don't know how good it was though.
A 70 to 200 millimeter.
So this one ISO 160, but then I had to shoot at 1/80th of a second to kind of maintain the
f2.8 lens is my
ISO 500. So at 2.8 aperture, in some areas you would be shooting at like, let's say ISO 500 with like semi-okay shutter speed.
favorite for its focal range.
Here was ISO 7200, or sorry, 70, Jesus, I can't speak, 720, and I was shooting at 1/250th of a second.
And incredible versatility. And it
ISO
performs really
400.
well in low light conditions.
Here's an example, it was like 1800 ISO to shoot at 1/250th of a second.
Within these dense forests.
ISO 280, that's the lowest so far. And then, oh yeah, so here,
In low light conditions within these dense forests. I've also
so this shot was at f1.2. So this is where I was talking about the difference here, I guess, where I was shooting with an 85mm 1.2 lens, but with that 1.2, I was able to shoot at 1/250th of a second, which kind of ensures a bit more that you should, be able to freeze the motion and not have a blurry shot. But I was able to shoot that at 1/250th of a second and have an ISO of 280, which is like very respectable. And you are shooting at 1.2 for that, so you just gotta be hopeful that you catch the focus. But yeah.
also had great success with an 85mm.
Same thing here. Now this one I was shooting at 1/320th of a second at f1.4, and I had ISO 800 though.
f1.2 lens.
ISO 400, but I was now able to shoot at 1/400th of a second.
For its exceptional low light
Yeah, 250.
captures on these tracks. For chimpanzee 1.2 lens, for its exceptional low light captures on these.
So in this one, I was even able to get under 100 ISO at 400th of a second. So that's the value of shooting with like a 1.2 in these kind of jungle environments where you're never guaranteed you're gonna have decent
For
lighting.
chimpanzee treks, all the same recommendations apply. The only difference is that.
But the other thing I would say, Nikon uses the same batteries as their DSLR days. Yeah, exactly. I have so many of these. I have so many of whatever they're called, which is good. Yeah. Small rig works with Nikon occasionally, so I assume that's why it's high quality. Also, the price is almost the same. Yeah, I'm a fan of small rig. It's just I wasn't a fan of their version of the full cage for the ZR. That's it. Otherwise, I have small rig for all the other cameras. It'd be nice to have one just because it charges directly. Yeah, that's an interesting concept. I do need some dummy batteries because right now I'm using a USB-C cable. But yeah, I prefer if I just had a proper dummy battery. It's low-key embarrassing. What's wrong with the small rig?
For chimpanzee treks, all the same recommendations apply. The only difference.
Oh yeah, the other thing I was going to mention though is I think it's one of the things that I've been enjoying about doing these trips, especially in like, for the jungle environments, is learning to trust the power of your camera. So especially with like something like a Z9, it's like in this day and age, shooting at a high ISO is not necessarily the worst thing in the world. So here, for example, this one I captured at 2.8, but the ISO was 4500 at 1/160th of a second. But I would argue, and obviously this one's not even the best version, but I feel like I ended up being able to salvage the photo to a point where you wouldn't even realize this was originally 4500 ISO. And that's because like Lightroom and, you know, third-party plugins or whatever, there's always like really good solutions for like denoising your shot. Yeah.
Is that some of my
2000 ISO,
photographer clients, including myself, have used our
1800, 70, yeah, this one's 7200 ISO. So it is a bit softer at times, but it's still like, you know,
400mm
decent.
f2.8 lens inside.
And then here we're talking, so this is when it started raining.
Have used our 400mm f2.8.
So this is with the 400mm lens. So I forget if I was telling Swiss Army Cinema about this before, but if for the chimpanzees, if you have something like a telephoto lens, you can end up getting some really cool portraits, but obviously it's a heftier, bigger lens and all that. But with the chimps, it's more feasible. Gorillas are too large for you to shoot with the 400. But in this case, I was shooting with the 400, ISO 12,800, but you still end up with like decent captures. 10,000 ISO.
If you can handle the weight,
12,800.
offer unmatched quality for these
5,000 ISO. And then this one ended up becoming like one of my hero shots that I use for like thumbnails and stuff.
close-up portraits of chimps. I don't recommend it for the gorilla treks, given the larger size of the gorillas means it's harder to keep in frame. For Jeep and boat safaris, a lens within a 300 to 400mm focal length is what I recommend.
And this is why I love Uganda.
Me, I use
In one country, you're getting
means it's harder to
gorillas,
keep in frame.
chimpanzees,
For Jeep and
you're
boat
getting these
safari,
East African cranes, you
use
get the
a lens
lions,
within a 300 to 400mm focal length.
tree climbing
what I
lions, the
recommend.
buffaloes,
Me, I use my
leopards,
400mm
shoebill storks,
f2.8 lens. It allows you to capture
elephants, of
faraway
course,
subjects while maintaining the
hippos,
best quality of your shot.
gazelles,
Lastly, when it comes to
people.
photographing the people and culture of
Yeah. So anyways. Mindful says, gotta run. Have a great time. Thanks for the great chat, everyone. Thank you very much for popping in, Mindful. Enjoy. Feel free to share any shots you take with your ZR and all that fun stuff. But yeah, thank you for being here. Fed says USB-C on the battery. Yeah. I love small rig. Yeah, you mentioned that. Swiss says, sorry, my wife distracted me with food. All this info you have been going over is super valuable for me. Yeah, for sure, man. Listen, like I said, video is publicly available. Feel free to check it out on my YouTube channel. The key things are you can see my packing list, you can see the tip guide, and then you can also see just, I guess, examples of photos that I captured with the different lenses and at the different ISOs and shutter speeds. So it'll at least give some kind of gauge for you when you're like planning for it. Stay mindfully grinding, says King. Nice, nice. Swiss says, oh no, sorry. Kings, imagine showing up to a set and you bring one of their follow focus setup and compare it to Terra Deck follow focus. It's a big discrepancy. I have heard of the Terra Deck actually. I'm going to stick with the 180-600 as my zoom, so leave that behind for the Gorilla Trek and take it for chimps. Huh. Let me think though. I guess for your case it's gonna be all video, right? So, because the 180-600 is what, f5.6 to 6.3 or something. Actually, that's not a bad choice. L's asking takeout or leftovers? Takeout or leftovers? Just go with leftovers. Although right now I'm craving some Norwegian meatballs. Okay, I'm contemplating, Swiss, what you said about the 180-600 for the chimps. I guess I never really felt that way about anything. I don't really have films or music that I consider guilty pleasures. I just like what I like and don't feel embarrassed. Yeah, listen, sometimes you gotta lean in to the shame. Or, you know, if I do things that are considered cringe, sometimes I just embrace it. You gotta own it, you know? Like I own my ignorance. King says, not even that shirt with tons of holes from wear and tear that you refuse to get rid of because it's a reminder from your college years. I used to do that all the time, by the way. Like I would almost have like sentimental... Yo, I used to have flip-flops in college that eventually the prongs would wear out or like it would fall off. And I ended up stapling them and like taping... And even the sole came off and I like stapled those together. It was the most ridiculous thing ever. But eventually, obviously, I got rid of it. R.I.P. Ooh, let's do this heist. Welcome, guys, to day... What is today? Day 94 of the stream. If I had a shirt like that, I would not be embarrassed, yeah. I'm thinking for gorillas to be on the Taipak Primes on the Komodo and ZR. Then my others will be on the Z8 with the 35-150. So then, Swiss, I guess the main thing... I'm trying to think here. I feel like the only issue is the aperture, is my concern. Because it is like super low light. You know what? I think I have some footage I can go over from one of those trips. Wildlife. Here, let's see. Let's see. We'll go from Uganda 2023. No, not that one. Here, let's go through Uganda April. So this is when I took a few clients out. Let's see. The problem is I don't have the settings of these shots. But the point I'm trying to make is that it's like very, very low light. Chimp resting. Let's see. Here you can kind of get a sense. You might get some light peeking through, but otherwise it could be super, super dark. Chimp walking. Where's that TTS voice? Yo, where did that TTS voice go? 400 4.5. The 402 just isn't in the packing cards this time. 400. Okay, the 400 4.5. By the way, L, thank you for being here on the Twitch side. Listen, I've been enjoying both communities for sure. I wish there was some kind of channel points for YouTube though. The 400 4.5 for my documentary, the chimpanzee documentary, I did shoot a lot of it with the 400 4.5, but keep in mind I shot it in a lot of open, what do you call it? Just like an open field. So I didn't have to worry about no sunlight coming through. Once you're in the forest, even a 4.5 can cause problems. 6.3, 1000% will cause some issues. So I'm just trying to see if I can find some examples for you to see. Maybe I can see the settings here. Okay. You know what? Swiss Army. I can help you, I think. Look. So here, who would have thought I could figure it out? So I'm in video mode here, right? And you can see that the settings are showing 800 ISO, f2.8, and I was shooting at 60 frames per second, I'm assuming, because it says 1/125th shutter speed. So with those settings, 60 frames, 2.8 aperture, and at the ISO 800, you can look at that histogram, and it's like pretty underexposed, right? It's not in the pitch black area yet, but it's fairly there. It's kind of close. Even though when you look just naturally, it seems like there's a lot of ambient light, and it's like fairly bright. It's not really. Like you are ending up shooting in these circumstances. So now imagine if you were shooting at 60 frames per second, definitely you wouldn't be able to do ISO 800. So I guess in here, I guess where I lose a bit of knowledge is like, again, that whole dual native ISO concept. So now here perhaps is where my concern is alleviated on the film side, whereas on the photo side, maybe not. So then here, I guess if you shoot at the high base of 6400, that should be able to serve you pretty well. But then, yeah, if you definitely wouldn't be able to shoot at the 800 ISO is my point. Because then imagine at 5.6 or 6.3 aperture. Yeah, it's good luck, right? And I'm pretty sure I didn't have an ND filter or anything on with this, but maybe I can see. Let's see. And look, yeah, so you can see how close the chimp gets. Look at this guy. Went right down and went right in front of me. It's so thrilling. It is one of the coolest things to... Yeah, I can't really describe how much of a thrill it is. Okay, let's see if there's another example here. So, same thing. 800, 2.8, yeah. Alright, let's find some more. If I'm getting M-mount lens, I'm going Leica M.8 all day. Wow. L is saying, wait, why is the delay so high? Twitch says 4 seconds from my chat to being on screen is maybe a minute or two? What? Sorry, I'm reading your message now, so it's even more delayed. For instance, Fed just posted saying, yeah, he shoots on 35mm and 2470. It's so hard to plan for this, LOL. So I don't know how long of a delay it is from seeing that chat come through and my response to it. L, let me double check. Oh, you know what, L, you know the reason? I had an issue earlier where my network disconnected. And then I had to replug my Ethernet. And so my YouTube stream went down, but then Twitch continued because of that 90-second protection that they've got. So my assumption is I thought that maybe Twitch would just catch you back up to speed. But it looks like it just kind of compounds with whatever delays occurred, and it just sticks on there. So, damn. Well, it's good to know, I guess, but yeah. I'll do my best to respond more quickly, but it seems like Twitch is effed because of the delay issue I had earlier. Then maybe I need to find a dang 400 4.5. Yeah, the 180 600 at 6400. But the thing is, like, Swiss, you know way more than I do, right? Because, like I said, I'm so new to the film side of things, so I only discovered the whole dual native ISO concept when I did the chimp documentary. So if you were to shoot at 6400 ISO, I'm assuming it should lend you pretty decent quality without worrying too much that you're at, like, 5.6 aperture. King's asking, do you take other lenses besides the telephotos? So on that trip, I was taking what? The 85, 70 to 200. No, I think I didn't take the 7200. I just relied on the 85. Then I had my 2470. And I had my 20mm lens. Going forward, I hope to add a 35 1.2 into my gear. I just loved it so much. It's the one I got the hero shot of the chimps with. I would love to keep shooting with that one. Fed says he shoots on the 35. Yeah, but I didn't own the 35. So that was a lens that I borrowed as part of that shoot, but it's not actually something I own. But I do hope to purchase one soon, I think. I think it's worth the money. But yeah, the 2470 is a go-to. Swiss says it's so hard to plan for this. You have no idea, Swiss. That's why I put that video together. Because it's like, shooting for chimps and gorillas are so unique. It's like in its own class. Like shooting in the forest, deep in the forest, right? Because it breaks all the rules of what you would expect. And it's also unpredictable. You don't know if the gorilla is going to be out in the opening or if it's going to be covered by the canopies. And these animals also... Sometimes they're sleeping, so then you could be super still with the monopod. Other times they're going to be running around, like the video I just showed where a chimp is just climbing up a tree randomly. L said, test for delay. I saw your message, L, come in like maybe 5 to 6 seconds ago. How much lens swapping do you do? I do a lot, but that's why I usually travel with 2 cameras. So that's what I was showing in my video. I'll have one on a camera strap, and then I have my sling bag, which holds my camera plus an extra lens, plus like whatever else I need. Oh, Swiss, the other thing you should keep in mind is it could get very humid in the forest, especially in rainy season. So just keep that in mind, like, that your lenses might fog over. So what are the solutions for that? I think one, you just got to keep the lens in like the same temperature, I guess. But to have a lens cloth ready to just keep wiping off the condensation and the How do you like your 21.8? I love it. I think I use it on my live. So this is the one I'm using here. I used it a lot for my selfie mode. Sometimes I would use it for wildlife, for like when you get that close-ups. Like I've had a few lucky encounters where the elephant comes right up to me because I'm at the lodge. And so nothing's better than like a 20 for that kind of experience, I think. Because once you go with like a 14, I feel like you get too much of that fisheye effect. So the 20 is great. But the problem with the 20 is that you end up, everything just kind of, nothing stands out in the shot, right? So your subject looks small, your subject kind of blends in with the rest of the thing. That's what I was saying, the 35 I felt like was amazing for keeping a bit of that portraiture effect and like separation, but still having a lot of background. Bring plenty of microfibers, yeah. Here, let me see if I can find some more footage, because it's also kind of fun to go through some of this. Okay, here we go. So here, I was shooting at ISO 1600 f2.8, and you're still seeing that the histogram is showing a bit underexposed, but I was shooting at 50 frames per second. So I would adjust at times just to kind of compensate for lack of lighting. This way. Man, I have so much of this footage to still go through, and like I'm hoping again, if I have a permanent YouTube editor, they can help me put this and create content out of this, right? Because there's a lot of fun behind the scenes, especially with this kind of point of view. So here, for instance, ISO 100, and I was shooting at like 1/125, but that was for photo.
ISO?
Oh, I was saying something about ISO there.
I don't know the ISO, but was...
Oh, I don't know the ISO. Sorry guys, I was distracted. Let me catch up on the chat. You get that unreal depth at 20 millimeters. Do you have any need for macro lenses? I've never shot. Yeah, I don't think I've ever shot with a macro. It sounds like a really cool lens to have, like for specialty shots, but it's not necessarily in line with the things that I normally shoot. But speaking of someone who does use it, I think, Low Base Guy says, how is you? What's up, Low Base? Now, for Low Base, I know you do a lot of like insect photography, so I'm assuming macros are excellent for that. Fed says subjects get smaller, they get distorted if too close. Yeah, you get like a bit of weird distortion, not like natural looks once you're at that 20 and below, in my opinion. But 20 is like just on the cusp of like somewhat reasonable without being too crazy, while still allowing you to get those really close-up shots of whatever subject. L says, hello YouTube side. Twitch delay for me is currently 2 minutes and 35 seconds. Holy Christ. Yeah, so I think that was just because of the delay from earlier. Swiss says, you're almost convincing me to leave the Komodo behind for the trek. I don't know if it was just for me, but reload didn't work, but looks like low base is fine. I have no... Man, well, thanks, L, for letting me know, because, like, I don't understand Twitch enough in terms of these situations. I just have seen no one doing it other than high-end production, and I really want that 16-bit R3D. Why not? Swiss, you might as well go for it, right? If you get the higher production value, I think it's worth trying, I guess. Especially because you have a team, right? So you can always be like you can take the higher risk of trying, and someone else will shoot with a more reasonable whatever. Fed says, I don't have any dedicated macro lens, but I like zoom lenses where you get semi-macro. Okay. Low base, just now, the message came through. You said, I sent a message 2 minutes ago, and my message still has not appeared on screen. Chat delay is massive right now. Okay, let me put something in the chat. Yeah, I had an issue where my internet disconnected, and I had to reconnect. And it seems the delay just extends instead of catching people up to the most recent live. Fed says, like how you can play something right in front of the 28 to 75 and still get focus. Oh, I see what you're saying. That's impressive. Oh, dang it. I was trying to read that. So here was like 1000 ISO. I was in auto ISO for photos, but yeah, 2.8, 1/25th of a second, 1000 ISO. But the shots ended up being really nice, so. Yeah, in some ways, I think ISO doesn't seem to be as big of a factor these days, but either way, Swiss, I'm just kind of showing, I mean, it's fun for me anyways, but, let's see. So here I was shooting again at 800 ISO, and again, same thing, look at the histogram, it's like super underexposed at 2.8, 60 frames per second. Now, with my new learnings as a recently anointed cinematographer filmmaker, now I understand the concept of exposed to the right, shooting with the higher base ISO, using the waveform as well, and also with that 12-bit R3D with the high dynamic range. Yeah, I think there shouldn't be too much of a concern for your needs, Swiss Army. Oh, and the other thing you can hear in the audio, the 32-bit flow is going to come in handy. Low bass, you said, it looks like your bitrate is too high for Twitch. You cannot get away with nearly as high a bitrate on Twitch as you can on YouTube. Okay, so would that help with the lag? Swiss said, I sent on Discord a lion shot of mine from the Mara with the 200, 500, 5.6. Ooh, let's check this out. And then let me see if I can update my bit rates on Twitch. How do I do that? Settings? No. Alright, give me a second, guys. I'm trying to see if I can change my Twitch bitrate. It's 4,000. So let's say if I drop this to 3,000, would that help? Okay, so I switched. I'll say thanks, low bass. I dropped the bitrate to 3,000. And then, let's see here. Let me go to my Discord. Copy link. Yo, beautiful shot. I love the colors on this. I love the composition. Shout out to the female, the lioness. Yeah, this is excellent, man. I like it a lot. Looks like it's I'm assuming it was mid-hunt, or it definitely has that pose, like it's ready to or it's like trying to hunt. It's low to the ground. Man, beautiful. What'd you say you shot with this with? The D750. Nice. You know what? I know the 750 was like one of those cameras that a lot of people loved. 200 to 500, 5.6. Gotcha. Beautiful. So this is why you'll need that 32-bit flow audio. Could you get close to any wildlife to use a macro lens? You know what? There was some sleeping chimps. So maybe, and some of them let me get super close. So that would have been funny to do a macro on that. The semi-macro ability is why I'm getting the 28 to 75 2.8 instead of the 24-70. Oh, okay. I don't mind losing the few millimeters on the wide side. Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, if you had a 28-75 and if it could do that semi-macro, you absolutely could have gotten... There's a few shots, or a few moments where, like, literally I was getting super close to the chimp as they're, like, sleeping. Let me see here. Yeah, so ISO... So, point is, Swiss... For at least all these shots here, you can even see the sun peeking through, but it's still super low light within the forest. to the point where oftentimes you're looking at the histogram, I'm like underexposed when I'm shooting at ISO 800, 2.8, 1/125th shutter speed. So you can imagine if you had a 1.2 lens, it probably would have been, if you shot at 1.2 or f2 instead of f2.8, I'm assuming that histogram should have shifted right to the middle almost. She was watching her cub. Of course, it's much cheaper too, which is nice. Yeah. This is a 7200. Okay, so you have a new shot. Oh, nice. Amazing, amazing. Listen, Swiss and everyone in the chat, we need to all do like a group tour. We have to do a film project, somehow be able to justify whatever that budget would be. But yeah, would love to travel with all you guys. You're super talented with all your crazy gear. We need a drone operator. We need a photographer. Well, what are the other things? Audio person, a gaffer. Was that the other term I learned? We need someone just to do the focus pull manually on an elephant. Beautiful shot. Yeah, I like this like pocket of shadow that the elephant's casting, and then everything else. It's like a nice little. What's the opposite of a spotlight? It's creating a spotlight, but it's noticeable because of the dark patch. You could put the camera all the way up in their face if possible and still get focus. That's crazy. Swiss says he's got the drones covered. Yeah, we saw that photo you sent. That's insane how many drones you got. Okay, so here's another example. So now, what is it? So still same thing. I think I usually just kept it on ISO 800, so I left it fixed because I didn't know any better. My assumption was like, oh, just always keep it at ISO 800. So, and then yeah, 2.8, 60 frames per second, and you can see it's still fairly underexposed, even though now I'm like pointing almost directly into the light. So you do see here the histogram peaks, you know, on the right side, but it's still fairly underexposed. Not to mention, of course, the chimp itself is like dark fur, so yeah. Anyways, this is what I'm saying. Like, I don't know, Swiss. I don't know if that 180 to 600 is the most reasonable lens to have because of the extra stops of light that you won't get. I feel like you're better suited with the 70 to 200. Yeah, because like I shot most of my stuff with the 7200, but with my, you know, Z9 or with like the NRAW, assuming you've got higher cinema quality cameras with the 7200 attached, you would be getting that cinema quality at the right focal length and at the right aperture. That 5.6, 6.3, I don't know. I'm feeling a little bit nervous for you on that one. So here, for instance, I was shooting at 1600 ISO. 1600 ISO, 2.8 aperture, and it's showing underexposed, right? Or it's like in the third quadrant or whatever, or the last quadrant, essentially. Yeah, 1600, 2.8, at 60 frames per second, and it's pretty exposed to the left. Yeah, the near focus is like half an inch or so from the lens or less. That's crazy. To the point the issue is more than that you will block it. Yo, you're making me want to get this lens. The 28 to 75. Huh. I can't spend money on too many stuff though. And this is the crazy moment where the chimp went by. So hopefully, Swiss, you're gonna get some cool moments like that. You never know, right? That's the fun part of wildlife, of course, is like you just never know what you get. And then this is the shot with the Insta360. Same moment, so it's just like sticking out of my backpack. Oh yeah, so you can see here as well, people have the face masks on. So if you don't want to wear like the, whatever those, what do you call those masks? I forget now. COVID's been so long ago. N90s or whatever. Then just wear your neck gaiters and that's acceptable. Let me see. Let's find the chimps. But yeah, you get the points. I think preparing and shooting for like the chimps and gorillas in the forest, it is one of the most unpredictable kind of shoots. You literally just don't know where you'll spot them. You don't know what conditions. You don't know if they're going to be up in the treetops or if they're going to be on the floor. You don't know if they're not going to be moving. So for example here, Fed, if you had the 28 to 75 here, I was fairly close to this chimp. And, you know, he was just chilling there. So you could have gotten even closer. Tamron G2 is the best version of the lens. Nikon one is basically the Tamron G1. You get a bit better overall image quality with the Tamron G2 plus even closer focusing ability. Check Discord. Ask the Tamron G2 is... also, the Tamron G2 is usually a bit cheaper than the Nikon. I see. Uh-oh, did my internet die again? Is it me or is it... Okay, no, I think it's fine. I got scared there. I thought my internet died again. One of them is not loading. Let me try again. A macro angle of the chimps or gorillas iris would be super awesome. Yeah, I don't know what's the closest I ever got. Oh, you know, I did get fairly close in my documentary. And that was with the 400 4.5 most likely, when I got some of the close-ups in the chimp documentary. Why is this one not loading? Oh, there we go. Yo, this is insane. So Swiss Army sent this across. Christ. You need your own little helipad, or what do you call these, like a little launch pads? What the hell is this? Swiss Army, do you do the FPV stuff? For the FPV stuff, you need like some kind of head, like some eye goggle stuff, right? Oh my god, that's insane. That is beyond insane. Wow. This is a drone? Dude, this looks like something that the military would use. Do you get like, do you do consultations for, actually, yeah, this feels insane. Wow. That is a heavy duty gimbal. Holy Christ. You gotta be careful. I don't know if this is you, but whoever this is, you gotta be careful. It looks like if the drone turns on, it's gonna chop your head off. Christ. You build them. Gotcha. I have over 10 different FPV birds. The price of the 2875 2.8 is very nice too. Oh, okay. Man, do I need to get one? No, I can't. I can't do it. I can't justify that right now. Unless I sell something else. Similar to the 2470 f4. I see. That's actually a good price then. Very nice price for a 2.8 zoom. Yeah. You build heavy lift drones. Okay, Swiss, I need to like pitch a project with you. If I can pull my connections with Nikon and whatever in some of these lodges and be like, yo, we'll do like a proper drone capture. Because, you know, a few of the trips I did recently, like just talking to some of my safari guides or like drivers or whomever, and they were explaining, some of them were part of some of those like Nat Geo, whatever else documentaries. So like in Zimbabwe, he was like the driver for when they were filming a bunch of the painted dogs, and he would take them out every day, and he was explaining how they had all the crazy rigs hooked up to the Jeep, and they were operating a drone to capture some of the shots. So they caught one of the hunts of the painted dogs with the drone, but I don't know what kind of drone they were using. I can't imagine it was anything to this quality though. This looks insane. This looks like if I sat on this, it would take off with me. Yeah, you know what? Can you create a drone where you just hook me up here and I'll operate the camera, but I'll just be below the drone here, just flying around. Dude, that's insane. King says, oh yeah, hold on. We build. Fed says, okay, I sound like a Tamron ambassador now. Yo, you can be any ambassador. Be a Yobel Prize ambassador one of these days. Swiss says, that's my partner for drones. I see. I need one of his hats. This would be so useful for safaris, because you end up like getting sunburnt so easily. Although my buddy gave me his what do you call those hats? The bucket hats, and it's actually pretty nice. This isn't a drone, that's a hovercraft. Looks awesome. Yeah, this is insane. Badass. Red Raptor with Canon 17-120 lens on a shot over gimbal. Oof. 17-120 lens. What is the aperture on that? I guess it doesn't matter too much, right? I'm assuming you're shooting in like pretty decent lighting. And then do you have to like, does it have a ND filter that you put on there somewhere, I'm assuming? There's so many levels to this shot though. Or like, again, I don't know the first thing about this kind of quality of gear, but just looking at this lens, I can't tell if there's like 5 or 6 different adapters attached to it, or if this is like one big ass lens with so many different knobs and dials and twists and turns. And how do these cameras work, by the way? It could lift you. Our current beast is 240 pounds. Oh my god. Wasn't able to shoot today, so I'm stuck at home, says Low Base. Oh man, Low Base. Let me know. I think your message came through a few seconds ago. I don't know if it's improved at all or if it's just going to forever be tainted. If you're shooting with a lens like this... Okay, so you said T 3.1. So my understanding is T is the same thing as like the F for like your aperture. So then you're shooting at a fixed aperture and a fixed shutter speed. Everything's fixed. And then you can't change any of the settings on the camera. All you can do is just point. You change where you're pointing the camera. Like, are you able to do can you manually adjust your... can you manually zoom while this thing is up in the air? Or all of that is just kind of fixed and all you can do is adjust the angle of the camera once it's in the air? That's a $25,000 camera. PL mount to RF. It's for sale if you want it. Yo, do I get like that Black Friday 100% off deal? I feel like the only thing in this shot that I can afford is maybe this helipad. Okay, I'm just like eyeballing this forever. This is like I can't really comprehend what I'm looking at here. Well, thank you very much for sharing that. That's insane. Yes and no. F is the size of the hole, where T is the amount of light that comes through the hole. Is there like a your mom joke in there somewhere? I don't know. In simple terms, F stops will be like 0.1 or 0.2 off of the T stop, so T is more accurate. Okay. Would probably be f2.8. T is the more accurate measurement. Gotcha. So all of this to say, Swiss, if you're planning for your jungle treks, I'm feeling a bit hesitant about you shooting with the 180-600 at the 5.6 6.3 aperture. I just feel like you're better off with a prime lens, because also it's like, yeah, we had this discussion briefly before, but if you've got a film crew, so you're not the only one having to shoot, I feel like it's better to just stick with all these primes, just because one, like we said, the low light situation, but two, you'll hopefully get a bit more of that cinema look, I guess, with the prime lenses. Yeah. The zoom is like excellent if you're a one-man show, but if you've got a team, I would just say like aim for whatever can let you shoot at f2 maybe, or if you have the 1.2 capability, why not? It just gets so dark in there. Trying to see if I can find other examples to show. Like here, yeah, you see a little bit of opening here. Otherwise, everything's just closed off. You've got all these branches. Oh yeah, Fed. I think this is one of the chimps that I got super close to it. So if I had a 28-70, yeah. Although you don't want to like get that close, but you know, you're not trying to piss off the chimp. Yeah, here's an example. Obviously, I kind of color graded this somewhat a bit dark, but just as an example, this is like kind of how dark the shot ends up being in some of the areas of like your walk. Also, with the bigger lenses, you're going to get a lot more shake. So obviously, another good reason to not. The size of the hole means less since not all lenses are created equal in size, etc. What do you think of the 135 Viltrox 1.8Z? Ooh, let me Google that in a second. Man, I was so lucky to get that. I forget, I think as I was walking closer, I had to like get around some obstruction. But then thankfully I got it right back in time as he was doing that little leap. And I'm pretty sure most of these shots were taken with an 85 1.2. So if you happen to have an 85 1.2, I swear, I thought that was one of my favorite lenses. One of the best discoveries for this kind of environment. Because 85 felt like is a decent range where you're not too much of like a telephoto lens. But for these types of subjects, you seem to do a decent job of capturing them. And you can get fairly close, right? So like even this whole example was where the guides were basically letting me know like, hey, you can keep walking forward. They would let you know if you need to stop. But yeah, you can just walk with them. Once they rest, you can get fairly close to them. So 85 ends up being a decent range. Okay, anyways, what you usually, oh yeah, sorry, we were supposed to look up the Viltrox. Viltrox 135 1.8. When you know the T-stop, it makes it so much easier to match exposure between lenses. I see. Okay. Swiss says 275 to rent the 400 4.5. I think But okay, I guess my question is, why do you want the 400? Because I thought the 400 was excellent. The 400 2.8 was excellent for the chimpanzees, not just for me, but all three of my clients. Or at least two of them were carrying a 400 2.8, and they ended up with some beautiful portraitures of the chimps. But if you're in film world, I guess the problem becomes, one, it's going to be much shakier, right, at the 400. Plus, it's like there's going to be a lot of missed shots, or like, you know, the 400 is not going to be conducive to a lot of action. It's just like when the chimp is not moving and you want to capture a few moments of it. So in terms of the bang for your buck of like how much value you'll get filming at 400, I feel like it'll be much less than anything under that. You know what I mean? Like an 85. That's what I was saying. Like an 85 was pretty good. Yeah, the stability's not bad for 85, says Fed. Yeah, it wasn't bad. Even though I was like pretty shaky, I was like obviously going through the forest. It was pretty good on my. I think some of that was shot on a Z6. Yeah, these are Z6 IIIs. So now with the ZR, which has the more, you know, IBIS capability and all that, I feel like an 85 could be better to have. Whereas the 400 4.5 just takes up so much space, and I don't know to what extent you'll end up using it. You'll definitely not use it for the gorillas. So then it's just a question of like just for the chimps. And I don't know. Really, I'm going to do both. Probably 400 millimeter stills. Yeah, if you're capturing stills, man, that 400 is pretty good. That 400 focal length was good to like capture some really clean shots of the chimp. Were you guys trekking in a Bronco Raptor? No. Photo lenses are great for the autofocus. I like that Nikon Z have minimal to no focus breathing. Yeah, I agree. The Viltrox 135. A 135 could be interesting as well. I like my I shot a few times with the 135 Plena. How does this compare to the 135 millimeter Plena Nikon? Viltrox more affordable with excellent value. Okay. I really did like shooting with the 135 1.8. Fed says, I've been checking out reviews for Z lenses lately, and the guys I watch always test the breathing, and similar to Lumix, they keep in mind video for the lenses as much as they can. Okay. Yeah, I guess I'm like reassessing now. You know, it's kind of fun, but now it's like, as my brain is more shifting towards like video stuff, it's been kind of fun to relearn things or think about what matters. I'll have the 75 Typoc, but I can't image manual focus being workable. You can't imagine manual focus being workable for the chimps. Yeah, not for the action for sure. But like you saw some moments where the chimps are resting, so then obviously there you'll have clean moments. But yeah, generally speaking, the kind of fun moments that you might want for a documentary, you'll have to ideally autofocus. But yeah, listen, Swiss, if you know, I'm happy to bounce around things. I know you have a few more days, but hopefully, yeah, check out the video. Hopefully it answers more of your questions and give you more things to think about. But you're gonna have a fun shoot, man. I'm super jealous. It won't be until April, most likely, that I'll be back in Uganda. But yeah, oof, I love it. Looks to be insane quality for the buck and super light. I've been looking at Viltrox and those super light air lenses for my travels. Interesting. Well, okay, guys, I appreciate everyone's time. It is now almost 11 p.m. I'm supposed to eat dinner. I should eat dinner. I have a few things to also take care of in terms of work-related stuff before we go to sleep, and hopefully I'll hit the gym tomorrow. But thank you guys for a wonderful stream. I appreciate it. I apologize to the people on Twitch that the network connection stuff. I need to figure out a solution for that, because it would suck if you get delayed for like some time and there's no way that your stream catches back up. Are you always forever stuck with the compounding delays in your stream? Anyways, that's something for me to ponder. You guys gave me a lot to think about in terms of gear as well. And now I need to look at the ATEM versus the Rodecaster versus the 2 or 3 other products that were mentioned. So thank you guys. It's a fun learning stream. And yeah, we'll see you guys later. All right, cheers. Am I still streaming? I said cheers. I hit the stop button. But then I can't exit OBS still. Actually, I guess I can tell. Let me go to my YouTube. Am I still live? Now the stream won't end? Okay. Well, that's awkward. That's one of the... Yeah, I see. That's one of the things with this ATEM thing. AITUM that I haven't figured out yet. Because now my Stream Deck buttons don't seem to work for that. What if I hit this button? Sorry guys if I end up ending the stream abruptly. I'm just hitting a button here. Let's see if that does anything. I don't think that did anything. What about hit the YouTube button? Nope. That's very awkward. Where's my cat? Yeah, my cat's still here. Well, imagine as if I had ended the stream. You guys are basically, you guys getting like the bonus content. What the hell? How come? Do I really just have to close my OBS? Yo, Swiss Army, you get a tip. Thank you very much. Yo, thank you so much for that epic $10. Damn, I appreciate it. That $10 will go into a fund for me to someday build my own epic drone that takes me around. 240-pound drone. Thank you very much. Well, maybe there is a bonus to not having ended the stream. Thanks for the tips, bro. Thank you. I appreciate it. Back and forth. But yeah, seriously, how do I end this goddamn stream? Is there a button here maybe? Record stream. No.